Good morning. I'd like to welcome everybody to our April 15th board meeting. Looks like we got a full house this morning. I'd like to call this meeting to order and ask Mr. Slade if you would for a word of prayer.
Let's pray. Father, thank you for this season that we come together. Father, we celebrate. Father, we thank you for the gift, the sacrifice that was made on our behalf. Father, thank you for for the Lord Jesus, for his sacrifice for us, his obedience even unto death on the cross. Father, as we think about this season, as we celebrate the reason that we have hope, I pray, Father, that you will encourage us as a community that when we come together, we can effectively govern ourselves. Father, thank you for the privilege that it is to govern ourselves. Father, to have the freedoms that we have so that we can participate in our government. I thank you for these men and the sacrifices that they make every day to serve their fellow man. I pray, Father, that you'll give them the wisdom they need today to make good decisions in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. I believe we got some people we want to recognize this morning. Mr. Slade would like to call them up and.
Absolutely. First, we want to recognize Deputy Jalen Parker. You'll come forward, please. So, Barry's going to stand up here with us, Jalen. I've got a resolution here that the Board of Supervisors has executed, and they are commending and congratulating you for heroic and life-saving actions. And so we like to do this, gentlemen, we like to do this whenever the sheriff points out that we've got deputies who have done extraordinary things in the line of duty. And so this is becoming something that we do relatively frequently, which should be an indication to our people of just how important it is to have incredible people working for the sheriff's office and doing an incredible job on our behalf. I'm going to read this resolution. Whereas the Rankin County Board of Supervisors has consistently recognized our county's law enforcement under the direction of Sheriff Brian Bailey as a vital component of what makes Rankin County a desirable and safe place to live and raise a family. Whereas the Rankin County Sheriff's Department has been a consistent partner with the Rankin County Board of Supervisors in serving and protecting the citizens of Rankin County. And whereas in recognizing the importance of Sheriff Bailey and the other leaders of the Sheriff's Department, the men and women who form the department, the Board of Supervisors also recognizes extraordinary and heroic acts of individual officers, and in particular Deputy Sheriff Jalen Parker, whose training, quick thinking, extraordinary bravery, and selfless devotion to the safety of all citizens resulted in a saved life. On the night of January the 3rd, 2025, the Sheriff's Dispatch received a notification of a gunshot victim at an address near Florence. Due to the uncertainty of the circumstances, medical and fire personnel were staged at a location that was near the crime scene, awaiting law enforcement assistance to secure the chaotic and dangerous scene. Deputy Jalen Parker responded to secure the scene, to locate the victim, to determine that the victim's injury was life-threatening, and after evaluating the options that were available, he administered life-saving aid by stemming the flow of blood with a tourniquet. Through quick thinking, selfless devotion, and years of law enforcement and life safety training, Deputy Parker saved this victim's life. Deputy Parker engaged in heroic, life-saving actions and should be commended for his extraordinary bravery and his selfless devotion to our community. Deputy Parker serves the citizens of Rankin County every day and is an example of the solid law enforcement community that Rankin County celebrates. The actions of Deputy Parker serve to remind all citizens of Rankin County that the men and women of the Rankin County Sheriff's Office are trained and ready to run toward and not away from danger, and to place themselves in harm's way. Therefore, it's resolved by the Rankin County Board of Supervisors that we commend and congratulate Deputy Jalen Parker and the men and women of the Sheriff's Department for their dedicated service to all citizens of Rankin County. Deputy Parker, this is signed on behalf of each of the supervisors, by each of the supervisors, and by Mr. Scarborough, our Chancery Clerk. I'm going to present this to you, and I believe Barry's got a medal that he wants to present to you as well. Let's congratulate Deputy Parker. today. This commendation is arising out of the same incident, so some of the information will be duplicated. But we're going to recognize Deputy Jason Clark for his bravery in the performance of his duty. Whereas the Rankin County Sheriff's Department has been a consistent partner with the Rankin County Board of Supervisors in serving and protecting the citizens of Rankin County. And we recognize the importance of Sheriff Bailey and the other leaders of the department and the men and women who form the department for their extraordinary actions and the extraordinary actions of individual officers, and in particular, Deputy Sheriff Jason Clark, whose training, his bravery, his selfless devotion to the safety and security of all citizens helped to secure a chaotic crime scene so that medical personnel could safely respond to a medical emergency. And this was on the night of January 3rd, 2025. The Sheriff's Dispatch received a notification of a gunshot victim at an address near Florence. And due to the uncertainty of the circumstances, medical and fire personnel were staged at a location near the crime scene awaiting law enforcement assistance to secure the chaotic and dangerous scene. Deputy Jason Clark responded to secure the scene. He located the gunshot victim. He located the weapon that was believed to be used in the crime, and he removed that weapon to a secure location. Through quick thinking, selfless devotion, and significant law enforcement training, Deputy Clark secured the scenes for the actions that eventually saved this man's life. Deputy Clark should be commended for extraordinary bravery, selfless devotion to his community, and he serves the citizens of Rankin County every day in what is an example of solid law enforcement training, and our county celebrates the fact that his actions serve to remind all citizens of Rankin County, the men and women of the Rankin County Sheriff's Office, run towards and not away from danger, and they place themselves in harm's way. It's resolved by the Board of Supervisors that we commend Deputy Jason Clark and the men and women of the Sheriff's Department for their dedicated service to the citizens of Rankin County. Our deputies are fine examples of the quality of men and women selected by the sheriff and his leadership to serve and protect the citizens of Rankin County each and every day. Deputy Clark, this is signed on behalf of each of the supervisors and by our Chancery Clerk, Mr. Scarborough. I want to make this presentation to you, and Mr. Vaughn has a medal for you today. That's awesome.
That's all right.
I'd like to thank y'all for y'all's service that y'all do. I know it's not an easy job, but appreciate for what y'all do in putting your life in danger many times for us. Just thank y'all. All right. Next, we have Ms. Pope from the Central Mississippi Regional Library System.
I'll take that. Well, it's that time of year, gentlemen. Thank you so much for having us today. Last week was National Library Week, and it was Drawn to Your Library. First and foremost, just thank you for your support, but especially thank you to Mr. Hicks and also Ben and JL. They keep our county libraries and our library headquarters are running and top-notch people to work with, so I have no complaints with them. Also, just a couple of things. Central Mississippi Regional Library System, I'm not sure if y'all all know, we are the largest system in the state. We have 20 libraries, and Rankin County being the biggest out of our Rankin, Scott, Simpson, and Smith counties, we have 9 libraries. And this past year, we had our awards, and all of the libraries that won the small, medium, and large division came out of Rankin County. So the small division library winner was Puckett, the medium division library was Reservoir, and the large division was Pearl. So I just want to say that it's a big commitment to these people and a testament, and I hope that the people that are with other libraries that weren't named will seek that goal as well. Other things that you should know, our Rankin County Employee of the Year is Regina Hudson. She's sitting behind me. Our Employee of the Year for the entire system is Austin Gamblin, and he's not here today. He's at Brandon. We also had several people that won our overall leadership awards. Some of them are sitting here. Dwayne Helms won one for his youth services work. He does story time at the Richland Library. For our reference leadership awards, we've had Becky Tong and Tori Sharp, both from Pearl and Flowood. And then for our circulation services leadership award, Pam Hamrick out of Flowood. Those are awards that are given throughout for the whole system, and Rankin County packed that this year. A couple of other things that are of note. I think to have a really great system is the lasting relationships that we've had with each other. I've been your director for the past 11 years, 20 total years of service, but I also have some really cool people that have worked here for 25 years. Regina is one of those. She's back there. You're going to wave. Yeah, she is waving. We also have Helen Mangum, but she works at our headquarters part. She's our tech and administrative. She's been here for her silver anniversary. Also, Paula Thornton, who works with Mr. Hicks a lot with our budgeting. She's been here for a decade. And then we have a couple of other people in Rankin County that have served 10 years. Her name's Pam Hamrick. And then Andrew Hedgeland and Jacob Pilgrim at Richland and Florence have served with us. So that says a lot about the people of Rankin County, to have people tenured that long to work, to always provide great services for our system. So before you have our annual booklet. Just have to share the projected, of course you know this, the projected population for Rankin County is 145,000 people. Of that, 127,827 people have library cards. And you know that library card gets you access to all the physical materials, but also gets you the access to the digital materials. We have things that, with people that have learning challenges, we have things where people can change fonts so that they can read in the dyslexic font. If your needs are auditory, we have ebooks and such. E-audiobooks, and then we have ebooks for people that have sight issues. Also, you got a really neat handout here. Some of our accolades that we have. I don't know if you know that the Pearl Library has a national award-winning garden. The Flowood Library was recognized at this past year's top of the awards for being a quality of life game changer. They have the largest totem pole in Mendenhall, if you're ever in Mendenhall, if you want to go see that. But there's a whole lot of really great tidbits. And on the other side, I'm not going to read to y'all because I know that y'all know how to read. Right? Yes. Yes, I know that y'all do. We always have that joke. But I'm just so proud to be serving with y'all. And I hope to continue that until the Lord sees me fit not to. But we would like to request a picture with y'all. And then we're done for today. Also, you have a lot of donuts to eat. And we have some goodies too. So could I ask my branch managers and my staff to come up real quick so we can take a picture with y'all?
All right.
Okay.
How was the wedding?
Exhausting. Quarter turn.
Appreciate all.
Thank y'all.
Good seeing you.
Good, you too. Thank you.
Thank y'all for what y'all do.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank y'all.
Strange.
Thank you, ma'am.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Up next, I believe we have Mr. Chad Dixon from Michael Guest office.
Hey, boy, I know you're about my age. You can find a seat over here. You're gonna need to sit down here in a minute.
As y'all know, the congressman got off from DC for the next 2 weeks to work the counties and stuff, and he's gonna try to get up a meeting with y'all. They got the appropriations going on, and they're trying to get this tax stuff done when they get back at the first time they can. So that's really all I got right now. I was just gonna make sure I could get a picture with y'all to put on that thing.
Yeah.
Well, Kelly, come take this. Or he can.
Come on in here, Steve.
Guess we could stand there with you, man.
Well, or you can come stand up here, yeah. And then get Kelly to stand right here. Come on in there, Jay.
Oh, man, we got his chair in the way.
Point your toe, Jay.
All right, there we go. 1, 2, smile.
He didn't make you look any taller. Thank you, Chair.
Old business.
Nothing. I make a motion to approve old business. Oh, well, there's nothing to approve, so.
April 7 minutes.
Well, he says- Okay, all right, make that motion.
Steve made a motion,
Second.
Brad second motion. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Consent agenda. Has everybody had time to read over the consent agenda?
Sure.
Need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Scott made a motion, Steve seconded the motion. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Nay. There's one nay on there.
What do you got, Jay?
I'm opposing the personnel recommendations.
Okay.
Okay, did y'all get that on, Jay? Okay. Miss Stacy McNish, the tax assessor.
Good morning.
Item A, we have the petitions to request adjustment on the 24 homestead exemption roll.
Motion approved.
Second.
Jay made a motion, Steve seconded the motion. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item B, petitions for change of assessment on 24 real and personal property assessments.
Motion approved. Second.
Brad made a motion, Scott seconded the motion. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item C, just making receipt of the exemption request for the Mississippi State Board of Optometry.
Motion. Second.
Scott made a motion, Brad seconded the motion. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And then item D, we're requesting authority to void the 22 and 23 tax statements for PIN 47776. This PIN is actually titled in the name of the trustees for the Rankin County School District, and it should have been exempt at that time. So we're requesting 22, 23, and 24 statements be voided and no other statement generated.
Motion approved.
Second. Brad made a motion, I second the motion. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. Mr. Pittman, how you doing this
I'm all
morning?
right.
You
Thank
looking
you.
good this morning.
Well, appreciate it, thank you. I'm here to award the, we had a proposal issued for household hazardous waste collection day. And we had two proposers. I'm here to get y'all's approval for, to move forward with Northward Environmental Services as the winner of the bid.
Did they do it last year? Do you know?
No,
We
they
didn't
did
do
not.
one last
They didn't.
year. But go ahead and tell them the cities they've done.
Northward is, they've done Madison, they've done in Madison County, basically. They did City of Ridgeland, Madison, and Madison County. Of course, the county has a shared between all three entities.
All right,
We had
this is hazardous
paint,
waste.
paint
Right.
and stuff.
When we have cleanup day or week, which we're going into pretty soon.
It's the end of the week, I think, it May the
In
10th.
different locations and county.
This will be at the Ag Center.
Okay, this
The
is,
last Saturday of our spring cleanup.
okay,
Have we
that,
put that online yet?
Yes.
Okay.
okay. And then they will handle this.
We'll haul it all out.
The hazardous stuff,
Okay.
right.
Chemical, paint.
Chemical, paint. I don't think we're doing tires, but.
Yeah.
We always take tires.
The tires will be at my location.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Jay made a motion, Scott seconded the motion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Mr. Parker, our county engineer, how you doing this morning?
I'm well, how are you?
Doing good.
Good. First item we have, Mr. President, is on the Gun Road Improvements Phase 2. We're recommending approval of payout number 11 from Hemp Hill Construction Company for $114,922.29 and authority to issue the check. That's a District 1 project.
I make a motion.
Second.
I made a motion, Steve seconded the motion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Item B, Mr. President, is on the hydraulic restoration at Melamede. That's an ARPA project, program element 4.09. We're recommending approval of payout number 6 from 2B Dirt and Contracting LLC, $40,809.63, and authority to issue that check. That's a District 4 project.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Steve made a motion. Scott seconded the motion. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item C, Mr. President, is also an ARPA project. It's program element 1.65. That's the Low Circle Bridge. That's a District 1 project, not a District 3 project. Correcting that. We're recommending final payment in the amount of $555,832.73, not 72. We had a typo there. That's on our end, not Samantha's end, just to be clear.
So you made two mistakes on your end.
Yeah, the board attorney made a
District
couple
3.
last meeting. I'm trying to make him feel a little better, so
Okay.
I thought I'd put a couple in there, mix them in and just
If y'all could proofread this a little
help,
bit
just to
before.
help him out. Obviously, it was all to help the board attorney.
Right, okay.
The difference is, we expect the engineer to make several mistakes.
Right.
We don't expect the board attorney.
To make that many, that's right.
I'll keep going then.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Good job, Steve. Steve seconded the motion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Item D, Mr. President, is another ARPA project, the Watershed Protection Program Element 2.02 Pine Brook Subdivision. We're recommending approval of change order number 1 from Southeastern for an additional 90 days of contract time and some additional line items for drainage pipe. That's a District 2 project. And what we're doing on the drainage pipe is we've got some pipes that we've got a little money left. The net change in the change order is 0. It's a net. We had some money left over from if you remember, we set up to TV and clean a lot of pipes to see if they needed line, and a few of them didn't need line, and so we had a little money left. And in order to access the creek, we're gonna extend some pipes a little further into the ditch so that we can cover them up and have better access into the ditch. That would be the changes there. In the 90 days, obviously that's some additional work, but we've had some utility issues too. Atmos had some relocation to do, and Energy had some unmarked lines that got damaged that they had not marked. And then they've got to rebore some shallow lines in the creek, and their Energy's telling us that we've been waiting on them a while, but they're telling us it'll be after Easter before they get in there to rebore those lines. So that's just set the contractor back a little bit of time. So we're recommending the 90-day approval.
So moved. Second.
Scott made a motion. Brad seconded the motion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Item E, Mr. President, is on the same project. We're recommending approval of payout number 7 from Southeastern Pipeline Environmental Services for $911,327.16 and authority to issue that check. That's a District 2, as we mentioned earlier.
So moved.
Second.
Scott made a motion. Steve seconded the motion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Slade.
Morning, gentlemen. First item under my section is to set a public hearing for May 1, 9 o'clock. This is for the Norris Jean Pitts nuisance property. That's a District 4 property. Just need a motion to set that.
Motion.
Second.
Steve made a motion, Brad seconded it. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Item B is to set a public hearing for May 5th at 9 a.m. for Pierce Construction conditional use permit. This is Star Road property. It's showing as District 1.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Scott seconded the motion. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Gentlemen, item C is a public hearing on the Corey Sanders rezoning request. This is Stoll Road property. It's a District 4 property. Going to open that public hearing. Mr. Sanders is requesting a rezoning of parcel K14-16-30. It's located on Stoll Road from its current classification as A1 to C2. This parcel is 5.81 acres in size, and it adjoins a C2 property that you can see here is immediately adjacent, K-16-20. Mr. Sanders is seeking the rezoning to align the zoning designation with his adjoining C2 property for the intended development of future office space. This request is submitted to promote consistent land use and to facilitate planned commercial development in this area. As you can see, it's immediately adjacent to Highway 25. It's also in close proximity to the intersection of Stoll Road and Highway 25, and much of the property along that section of Highway 25 is already zoned commercial in anticipation that that is the footprint of development for that area. These parcels being in very close proximity to that corridor, commercial corridor. There would be an adequate establishment that, under the board's authority, that there's a change in the circumstances and the character and the condition of the area there. To my knowledge, there's very little residential development in that immediate area, so I don't see that there's an impact on those areas there. It appears to me that there would be an adequate showing for the board to be able to move in the direction of the applicant's request, unless there's something that would prohibit that. At this time, we are in that public hearing. I will ask if there is anyone here to speak in opposition to Mr. Sanders' rezoning request for this parcel. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition on that matter? Mr. President, I don't see anyone here to speak in opposition on Mr. Sanders' request. At this time, unless you have questions of the applicant, I see no reason to belabor it. We can move forward with a motion to, in whatever the board.
Second.
Jay made a motion, Brad seconded the motion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Next item under my section is a conditional use permit request being made by Seth Bilbro. This is a Stump Ridge Road parcel. It's also a District 4 property. I will open that public hearing. Mr. Bilbro is seeking a conditional use permit to mine 4 acres off of Stump Ridge Road. It's parcel L13-20 and L13-21. It's a combined 160 acres. It's zoned A1. A1 zoning allows mining through a conditional use. Mr. Bilbro is proposing to enter and exit the property off of Stump Ridge Road. He has received his 4-acre notice of exemption form, and he is waiting on MDEQ to approve that request. At this time, I'm going to let Brian demonstrate the location. And do we have something else that we want to demonstrate?
His 4-acre exempt has been approved.
Oh, MDEQ has approved it?
Has approved it.
All right.
Is there anybody from Mike that can say the route?
Did they give you a route, Brian?
Yeah, they're coming off Stump Ridge Road there and coming down to this back parcel here. And it's gonna be on the north side of that parcel, just at the top there. where they're mining. It's 4 acres
All right,
right there.
when they leave the pit, if they get, approval, Stump Ridge, it's my understanding from our road manager that his discussions were that the route, hauling would be up Stump Ridge to Stoll Road, which is half a mile away,
Yeah, it's just right up the,
and then Stoll Road,
yeah, it's not far.
straight shot
Yes, sir.
25. Okay. We don't want, if this goes, I don't want dump trucks being on Stoll Road any further than necessary. I mean, on Stump Ridge, any further than necessary. But if I remember, just about 3 years ago, Stoll Road was a gravel road. And when we built it, I had Mike to reinforce it by liming it because of a lot of really my thoughts were logging in that area had been big. But just, that would be, the preferred route.
Yes.
Okay.
And there is a set of conditions.
Yes.
What are the conditions?
All right, I'll walk through the conditions that we would typically see, gentlemen. The conditions that we would typically impose in situations like this where there is a request for conditional use for an exempt mine operation. These would be our standard conditions that we would request. We always have an hours of operation, and the board establishes the hours of operation in exchange for the permitted use. And those hours of operation have to be policed. And so typically we would see Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. We typically do not allow any hauling on Sunday at all. Oftentimes we will try to orient the hours of operation in and around daylight savings time, understanding that a 7 p.m. closure during or during standard time is going to have hauling operations going on in the dark. And so if it's inside of standard time, we shut off the mining operation at 5 p.m. So in this case, given the timing here, we're already in daylight savings time. We would probably use the 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. hours of operation Monday through Saturday. So that's the first thing, hours of operation. We typically require the operator of the pit to maintain a water truck on site, and that's for the purpose of dust control. We require the operator to post trucks entering highway signs. This would be appropriate in and along Stoll Road to warn the motoring traffic that slow-moving vehicles will be entering and exiting off of the entry to the mine. We would require the operator to keep any public roads free and clear of all debris on a daily basis and be responsible for any damage that could potentially happen to any public road as a result of the hauling operations. Typically, the conditional use permit is only granted as to the area, the 4 acres actually exempted by MDEQ, meaning that we would require the operator of the pit to literally stake off and flag the area that DEQ has permitted as the exempt mine operation. I think at this juncture it's important to point out, both to anybody in the room and to the board, this is a 4-acre pit. The 160 acres is not being mined. It's 4 acres that is being mined. And once that 4 acres has been mined in accordance with DEQ's requirements, the mining operation stops. They're not going to mine 160 acres of dirt off of this site. Now they can go back and request additional exempt locations within that 160 acres, but they have to go back through the process again in order to accommodate that.
Craig,
Yes, sir.
Tim, can you speak on this? Because I remember some language from DEQ that a 4-acre exemption, they have not been favorable at doing additional 4-acre exemptions on the same property, you have to go through the full mining request. You can't just move around 4 acres.
That's their tendency to do that. That's the way DEQ prefers to do it. I can't say that they would not let another 4 go, but if you do 4 and they see you're fixing to do another 4, that they can see the writing on the wall and then go through a full mining permit.
Okay.
Yes. What DEQ might do is beyond the purview of our discussion
Yeah.
today. Just suffice it to say that once the 4-acre operation has been completed to DEQ satisfaction, any additional mining will have to go back through DEQ, whatever that might look like, and back through us for conditional use. We typically will require some sort of protection of the entry and exit. Those trucks are heavy. They cause damage as they are trying to make a turn, and because of that, the potential for that damage, we require the operator to install appropriate material to preserve and to protect the entry on the public right-of-way onto Stoll. In this case, it would be Stoll. So that would be an additional requirement. If
How many feet is that?
typically we require that material to be at least 200 feet interior to the operation.
All right, I just want to make sure.
Yes, sir. That's our standard.
Right.
You guys can go farther than that if necessary, and you can shorten that if
We
you
just
prefer.
built the road. Wouldn't it be appropriate if we got a bond this time?
Yes, sir. The board does have the authority under Mississippi Code annotated section 65-7-4 to require anyone who might cause damage to a public road to protect that road. And that includes the establishment of a bond or other collateral. Jay, in previous occasions, we have required the posting of a cash bond in a sufficient amount. Typically, Mr. Parker gets involved in trying to figure out what potential damage could be caused here as a result of these operations, and helps us to calculate an appropriate amount to require as a collateral. Now, the operator, as long as they are protecting the road and not causing damage, they stand to get that refunded at an appropriate time. But it's available to the taxpaying citizens of Rankin County to satisfy any damage that might occur to our public roads as a result of this operation. So yes, you do have that. It's not listed here because we don't typically do that, but you do have the authority to do it.
I
Okay?
mean, we just
You-
built the road, so, I
You-
know we don't normally do it.
You also have the authority to require certain things in the event that the property itself is in or could impact what we call a flood hazard area. So this is kind of a new thing for us, so I want to point this out. I haven't studied this one. This one may not be in a flood hazard area.
It's not.
But I'm going to tell you that we have added this as one of our standing conditions in the event we come across exempt mine operations that are asking for a conditional use where it could potentially impact flood hazard areas. So I'm going to quickly go over that with you guys. An applicant may not initiate mining activity until such time as the applicant has fully satisfied the requirements of operating within close proximity to a special flood hazard area. This is new. We don't have a standing disturbance ordinance, soil disturbance ordinance. But we do have in our zoning ordinance now, if it is a special flood hazard area, you cannot disturb the soil until such time as you've satisfied additional requirements. So I'm using this time today as a way of educating the board, ourselves, and the community at large that before we disturb the soil, we need to know, is this a special flood hazard area? How do I know that? We can refer to the CMPDD zoning maps that are on the county's website, and if it says that the flood condition or the FEMA map shows that the property is a specific classification, AE,
AE, that is we know the base flood elevation on AE.
Yeah.
X, if, it's good if it's X. A is not studied, AE is studied
All right.
for a base flood.
AE,
You
if you
said this is not. in that area.
This is flood zone X, which is
So
not, it's not a special flood hazard area.
So what you're saying doesn't apply to this.
Would not apply to
one.
this particular one,
Okay.
but there will be a number of situations, Steve, where we have people seeking a conditional use for mining operations,
Oh, yeah.
and the property that they are on is zoned, for FEMA purposes, is zoned AE
Yeah.
under the flood study, under the FEMA flood map. And if that's the case, there are additional requirements that have to be undertaken before they can mine that property. If their property is next to AE, they need to undertake conversations with Mr. Measles before they do anything else. So we're trying to get the word out about that. We would consider that to be a zoning violation if they were to disturb the soil in that area. So those would be the conditions, gentlemen, that we would require. It seems to me that Mr. Bishop is considering some sort of protection or bond for the road that may need further discussion. And so unless the board has additional questions of the staff, before we move forward, we can move forward to the rest of the public hearing.
I'd like to make sure, and that might have been one of the conditions, that we keep a sweeper on site out there.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We would typically require that in association with that water truck, since that makes sense. But yes, you can go farther and specifically require the applicant, the operator, to have a sweeper.
Okay.
Okay? Any further questions from the board? We have a number of contacts that have been made with the Office of Community Development. Some of those have been by phone, and so I wanted to report to the board kind of the flavor of the comments that have been received. And I think most of these are going to be in opposition to the proposed application that's before us today. We have a Mr. Kevin Bird who called to report that there's too much construction traffic, including dump trucks. The roads are too narrow. The roads are deteriorating due to the traffic and dust. We have another caller who said that dangerous dump trucks drive all hours of the day, and they drive too fast, and there's enough construction going on already in the area. It's a nightmare to the residents on that street, which I assume to be Stoll.
They give addresses on where they live?
Yes, so these are all going to be coming from Stump Ridge, unless I say otherwise. It's folks that are right in the community here.
They're still doing it.
We've got another one from 184 Stump Ridge. Too many dump trucks already on Stump Ridge and Hollybush, and the traffic is terrible. We have another one, Stump Ridge Road at Mount Helm. It's tearing up the roads. The road is already too narrow. The roads are dirty. The dump trucks drive too fast. Kids are out in the area playing, and it's going to be a mess like Mount Helm Road. We have one at 816 Mount Helm Road. Too much noise, too much dirt, too much dust, too many dump trucks. We have another from Stump Ridge Road. Too much traffic is in the area already. The roads can't handle this kind of traffic. Another one's 340 Stump Ridge Road. The safety and the overall community aspect, too many accidents. The dirt pit on Hollybush, the speed of the dump trucks. They have made many requests of law enforcement to try to control the speed. They don't understand what the intention or the plans are in and around the removal of the dirt. Another from Stall Road, the roads are being torn up too quickly. The community doesn't think it's a good spot for a mining operation. Too many dump trucks. That's I didn't count, maybe 6 or 7 that have called. I'm confident we'll have others who wish to speak. If the board is prepared, we can move forward now. And I'll give some very brief instructions on those who intend to address the board directly. The way I'd like to do this is to start with Mr. Bilbro or anyone representing Mr. Bilbro to come forward now and to address the board with respect to the request and to address any of the complaints that have been mentioned here this morning. And then after that, we'll have an opportunity for those who wish to speak in opposition to address the board, and then the board can go further in its deliberation. Bill broke? It's,
I'm not Mr.
okay.
But I'm Mr. Bill Bray's mom, part owner of the property. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good
How are
morning.
y'all doing? First of all, I'd like to thank each one of y'all for your hard work for keeping Rankin County safe, secure, and nice, and to be one of the greatest counties, not in the state, but in the U.S. I'm probably going to step on some toes this morning because political correctness is not my forte, so buckle up. I don't think I've ever heard a complaint quite so interesting as too much dirt when you live out in the country, but I don't know. We went on record with the Board of Supervisors several years ago before many housetops and an awesome paved road were a thing on Stump Ridge Road. When the developers of this property were subdividing it into smaller estate lots, turning all of this ag timberland into residential zoning. We did not oppose this rezoning, but we did voice our concerns over this very issue so that our concerns would be of record with the Board of Supervisors. Is that not correct, Mr. Gaines? You were on that board at that time.
It is correct.
Okay.
And I think we got a video of it.
Okay. Just so it's, you know, it's out there spoken out loud. September 1927, that's the date on the deed to my grandfather's old homestead place, which we continue to own and grow timber on. That meant he was already grown and out on his own. This is only one side of my monkey tree, sounding out that our family being a part of Rankin County well over the 100-year mark. Now fast forward to May 3rd, 1978, almost 50 years ago. Were some of these people even a thought on that date that live on Stump Ridge? A lot of you who live on Stump Ridge, they weren't a thought then. That date's significant to me because number one, I remember it, but number two, it's the date that my dad bought this 160 acres off of an old log truck, barely graveled road, way off the beaten path, away from any civilization. All that was down this road were trees, possums, stray dogs, and deer. My two boys grew up on this land hunting it and making it a better place. Only when the trees were mature did we harvest them or they would still be standing. Our family has always tried to be good stewards of our land that we have been so blessed to be in possession of for a time period, because in the end, it all belongs to God. But there was a lot of sweat and hard work that went into buying each of our properties. No one has given us anything. We picked up chunks behind the dozers, and when the land became pastures, we chopped thistles to better the grasslands for our horses, cows, or row crops. Now, my family has been part of Rankin County for many, many years. The Stonebridge Elementary School area in Old Brandon is on the site that my dad, Max Allman, and his brother Buck owned Allman Brothers Feed Mill and operated a big hog, cattle, and feed mill operation when I was a kid. My family has always and continues to pay a lot of land taxes to support the roads and the infrastructure of this county. I say all of this because I want each of you to realize how much Rankin County means to me, and I think I can safely say it means the same to my two boys, Cole and Seth Bilbrough. It's pretty much all I've ever known. I just never figured out how anywhere else could be nearly as great a place to live and raise a family. I even convinced a Northeast Jackson man how great Rankin County was 30 years ago when Jackson wasn't so bad. I don't want to take up much of your time today, but I do have one question for you people. Why did y'all get up and get dressed this morning?
If you will, address the board.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Why did you people get up and get dressed this morning? Most people here today would answer that question with a response of getting ready to go to work. Well, my family's no different than any of you. We get up each day and get ready to go to work as well. Our work may just look a little different than what all of you do. We don't have a 9-to-5 office job. Our work consists of rising early, greasing tractors, feeding animals, planting or harvesting crops, looking at what jobs are on the calendar for people to get their driveways, house pads, ponds fixed, or any other hauling details. We are farm raised and continuing the farming ways we were taught to live by. Now, just like you all, what each of you do as a living is essential to us as well. It takes each one of us to uphold the beauty that our God created. And just as you all rise and shine to prepare the day ahead of you to earn a living, that's what we do as well. Ours just looks a little different than y'all's. I do have another question for y'all. Why did y'all move out to this area, out of the city? Because you wanted to feel the freshness and see the stars without the city night lights? To have a night without city sirens and ambulance sirens heard in the distance? And maybe not listen to your neighbors' complaints? Welcome to our world. And now that you have been welcomed to our world, we've survived just fine from y'all, from instructions from y'all for at least 150 years. And we can continue to survive without instructions. If I'm stepping on your toes a bit, let me go back to my original question. Why did you move out here away from your zero lot line neighbors? We all need to serve our community and be good neighbors to one another. We have no other ideas of not being good neighbors. We appreciate your concern and the love you now have for the country, because it is a beautiful area. But as each of you also appreciate your good roads and good house pads, so will someone else have the enjoyment of a good road or a beautiful home site when the construction people are able to feed their families using the dirt off of some of this acreage to build new roads and house pads. Not to worry what will be left on the acreage, but hopefully a big, beautiful lake. You know, if my dad were still alive, several people in the room remember him. He was sure enough old school. He wouldn't be here at this meeting today, nor would he say a word to anybody. He would have a big collection of treasures piled up in several piles, if not some nice smelling chicken houses on this property for y'all to drive by and ponder over every day. I thank you for your time, and I hope that we can find a solution that will be satisfactory to all concerned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve, did you want to go back over the video from,
How long
what
is
was that,
it?
4 years ago?
It's probably, you can get the gist of it in about 3 minutes, but it's up to about 10 minutes.
I don't think so. I think that there's 3 of us on the board that were here and remember that conversation. And that's what it was just what she said.
Yeah, the first 3 minutes will cover all.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll give you my address. Can you make sure one of them has the address, and they'll make sure I have it, that way you don't have to hang around.
Craig, there's one person called me that was gonna be out of town and asked me to please protect his interest. He owns 160 acres that comes out to Stump Ridge in the middle of this development.
Yes, sir.
They farm, but they also have a good bit of dirt back here that they've been waiting. They don't have to cash in right now, and their goal, at some point, these dirt pits all around are gonna be out of dirt, and that's whenever they wanna strike. This was a gravel road. This was the way that Mike routed these trucks in and out. This is now gonna be blacktop, probably from there to 25, in just about any direction. I mean, at some point, by the time that they're ready to dig, I want to make sure that we understand that we're coming in there on him. We've got to allow access for him to get maybe out to 25 or to Holly Bush or whichever direction. That, I just want to go on record that I don't want to handcuff the people out here by changing a zoning that they don't even really want changed.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so
The mining operation that would accompany that, Steve, is controlled primarily by the Department of Environmental Quality that has a mining permit process. That would probably be one of the first steps that the individual would have to take.
Well, their thought now is not that. They'll follow all those rules and guidelines, being able to get on the road now that they're asphalt roads.
Understood. Yep, so the county will have the ability at an appropriate time, whenever that starts or gets ready to start, to address the issue of protecting the public road as it exists at the time. It would be appropriate for the county to keep in mind that this was raised at a point in time before the road had been upgraded.
Yes.
Okay? And so I think the board at the time can accommodate whatever circumstances may exist at that time.
It's not gonna be one on every corner, because if you look at this, there's only one piece that actually makes it out to the public road. So
Yes, sir.
I don't anticipate this being, just catching on fire and everybody has a dirt pit.
I think everybody gets the gist. We don't have to watch it.
Yeah, and for the record, that was from July 15th of 2021.
Okay.
I don't know who those two guys are, but they were making a lot of
They
sense
look a lot
there.
younger
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah, sure enough, but I think he's wearing the exact same coat he's wearing today, just for the record. Yeah, it's been a good coat. At this time, gentlemen, we can ask for the folks that are here to speak in opposition on this request to come forward. Our typical way of handling these types of addressing of the board in opposition to requests that are being made for some type of land use is we ask that we try to limit our presentation to the board to around 3 minutes or so. Ms. Vaughn, who spoke on behalf of the applicant, did a good job of confining her remarks to roughly that time frame, so that would be appropriate to request those that are going to speak in opposition to try to do the same thing. It's important that we address the board. We don't allow directly addressing others in the room. Comments and requests need to be made directly to the supervisors. So at this time, we would ask for whomever would wish to lead off speaking in opposition to this request to come forward. You'll need to state your name and your address for the record, please.
How many people do we have that's in opposition? If you would stand up. Okay.
Not the other way.
All
How
right,
many
now,
are here supporting? Stand up. Stand up.
Sir, did you say a little of both?
This is,
okay.
these people are supporting the
Right.
dirt pit.
I guess the first one that would like to come up and speak.
That's in
Okay.
opposition, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I am in opposition in regard. Good morning. Thank you for your time this morning. I appreciate what you all do for the community. My name's
Name and address.
Shane Scheib. I live at 348 Stumpridge Road, which is adjacent to the property in question. I took a while looking at this, and I think it's a twofold issue. The first thing was I didn't really understand what it's about, and I think that's what a lot of people here are wondering. I hear mining, I'm like, it's right next to my house on a little road with kids and families and et cetera. And then I go down Holly Bush, I had some numbers. We've got over 4,000 dump trucks per week going up and down that road right now. I got pictures right here, I got the evidence. So, and they cut through our neighborhood to go to Pelahatchie to save 10 minutes. And we had 150 dump trucks a day for 2 weeks going through our neighborhood. But when I look at the property, it's a beautiful property. It has.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
you live on Stump Ridge,
Yes, sir.
and these trucks that were leaving on Holly Bush
Yes, sir.
to go to Pelahatchie.
Yes, sir.
Come up Stump Ridge,
Yes, sir.
really?
About 150 a day for 2 weeks early this year. And we made a call to the local police.
Where were they going? And do you know what their
They
destination?
went all the way over to
They didn't come
the
all the way.
43s and headed towards Pelahatchie. I don't know what they were doing.
Yeah, I don't understand that route.
I don't either. I think it's a shortcut and see, you know, they're paid by the truckload, so I get it. They wanna get there quick.
Going to Pelahatchie, that would be a shortcut. Not by any.
Maybe,
they must
maybe my direction's off.
been going
Somewhere's out there
toward
towards
Gibson.
Morton, maybe.
Yeah, okay. never
Wherever
mind.
they're going,
Yeah.
they cut
They
through.
cutting through.
Yes,
Right.
sir. Yes, sir. But I do overlook the property. It's a beautiful property. I appreciate I believe Miss Vaughn, her family's had it for a long time. When I look at it, I'm like, I'd much rather but I don't know what it's for. Now that I hear it's for a lake, I'd love to have a lake there and property. So in that regard, I support it. But I think the other issue we're up against is the traffic of all the dump trucks. So if it means for me a temporary inconvenience for a beautiful piece of land and a lake out there besides hundreds of homes, I'd be in support of that. But I think it needs to be managed. It needs to be within parameters. Like I said, I did the count on Holly Bush. I mean, it's out of control, to be honest. There's just endless trucks. I have pictures here if you want to see it. The road in front of my house is tore up pretty badly. I have a picture. So what I would like to ask is that there's got to be parameters around it for safety. Those trucks are going fast because they're paid by the load. Now they're going 60, 70 down a little road with mothers pushing babies, etc. And that's where my, in summary, I support having a nice property back there with the lake, but I also believe that comes with responsibilities and parameters around it. It's got to have more policing out there. It's got to have more stop signs, the other things that were talked about. They want to put in place, but 7 to 7, I know we moved out there for peace and quiet, but dump trucks for infinity would not be good. Times have changed. It's not in the middle of the country now. But it also would be nice to have property that's not houses back there. So, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you. And I agree with you on some of your comment, it does need to be, policed and controlled a little bit about the speed of the, dump trucks and stuff, but, and any time there's a dirt pit, I know it's inconvenience for people, but on the other hand, you have to have any project you do, you have to have dirt, whether you're building a home, building a road, hey, and it's never a good, I have some dirt pits in my area, and I get complaints, but that's just part, every house that's built and every project's done is with dirt, and like I said, I understand y'all's concern and nobody wants to probably live right next to it, but that's just part, hey, I don't like when somebody's blacktopping the road right there and I have to drive through it, but, it's just part of it. But appreciate you, it sounded like you kind of went the other way now. You are for it. You was against it. Now
I
you're saying you're
support it,
for it. You
but I'd
support
like
it?
to know,
Okay.
what are the parameters? Is this 4 acres over 6 months? Well, I can put up with it. Is this an
Right.
endless dirt pit farm, capital of the world over there on McLean? Endlessly, it's 4 and 4 and 4. I would, that wouldn't be appropriate. But they explained that a little more, so I'm for it in terms of the limited scope that it currently represents and the parameters around it and the timeline.
Well, and one thing that, District 4 is probably the fastest growing district in Rankin County right now.
Yes, sir.
Everybody's wanting to move out into the country. Well, you're gonna have issues like this, and I think we can, as a board, we can put parameters on, and we're not gonna we can't sit out there every day and make sure these trucks don't get over 45 miles an hour, and,
Right.
I don't know,
35.
or 35, whatever, but we'll do our best to try to police as good as we can.
See,
Yeah.
you have pits, and I think you have one that's sending dirt to West Rankin Parkway.
Right.
What do you think is the maximum amount load trucks that they load out a day?
They
I
doing,
don't
they
know
doing
that.
200 probably.
100.
Well, they have, at
18
some
what?
points, they have 160 on the job, steadily running.
Well, to
That's,
support 4,000 in a week, it would have to be
Uh.
666 a day.
right.
Do you think that
Guess it depends on how many
Right.
operators you got and how
well,
many trucks you
I
got.
know, but
Right.
that's the average 666.
You're welcome to have this. It has the data and
Right.
the evidence. if
I
you
do,
look
I
at it.
want that.
But,
It shows.
But like I say, and it just
Yes, sir.
depends, and it's hard, cause I know people don't understand when you're doing dirt work.
Thank you.
It's kinda like farming, you can't,
Not
You
every
can't-
day you can go in there and
right,
and
you
mine.
can't plan, well, I'm gonna haul dirt
Yeah,
today.
I've seen this.
With the weather, when
I've
it's
seen
time to
that.
do
Yes,
it, you
sir.
have to do dirt work, and,
Y'all have
it's,
any other questions for this gentleman by chance?
I think I'm We're good.
There was a
Thank you.
lady, I believe, who was stepping forward at the time, and then this gentleman here. So if you'll come forward, ma'am, please, thank you. Name and address, please, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Sadie Watson, and I'm at 498 Stumpridge Road. So, I didn't know your face, but we have spoken many times, Mr. Stephen. I was the first property on Stumpridge to the right, past this proposal for the zoning area. At the time that I owned the property, the gravel road was still there. I know a lot of the properties that are there now didn't experience what that was like with the gravel and the dust. I lost about 75% of my landscape from the dirt. You and I had spoke about it, and you paved it maybe right after Thanksgiving or around that time frame. Some of my biggest issues are directly related to me and my family and our property. We had terrible runoff, erosion, flooding towards the back of our property. We're about 3 lots down from this zoning. We spent about $20,000 last year to correct it. We had to put in a large ditch at the very end of our property along with 3 other neighbors to the side of us. And you know, I just want to address, though I was not born in Rankin County, I grew up much more rural than where I'm at. So this is more of a city move for me than where we are at. And especially when we bought the property, the developer hadn't really decided what he was going to do, how he was going to divide those lots up. And I didn't purchase it from the developer. I purchased it from a realtor. So my husband and I didn't really understand the goals or what it would look like in the future. But my concern is the dump truck and the water pump and where all this water runoff is going to go on. You know, it was a big issue with our neighbors trying to figure out who was responsible and how their runoff was responsible. There's houses that have been built back way further on their acreage in conjunction to ours. There's a house about 4 lots up from ours on the same side of Stump that built probably half an acre further down or further into the backyard. Yes, that created more runoff issues. And so that's one of the big issues for me with digging and his property being such higher. The elevation is much higher. He sits higher than that one side of Stump Ridge. So I perceive there's going to be a lot of runoff issues, whether there's a pump truck or not, because even with the new construction, every house that's been built, we've had to address the erosion in our backyard. So the light pollution, the dust pollution, the noise pollution. When that gravel road was there, I called you and I said, hey, people are going 70 miles an hour down this road. Yeah. My children in the front, there's gravel all in my yard. And I spoke to the gentleman next to me as a deputy, and we spoke. They don't have radar, How are we going to hold these people accountable?
We try to go to the Capitol every year.
Yes, sir. And I know that it's a larger legislative issue, but we have to look now at what we're proposing for this area, and you have to take into consideration, the respiratory issues and the respiratory sensitive people that live out there, like my 3-year-old. And just being that close, we had all these issues in the beginning with the dust. I don't see that.
But when you bought it, it was a gravel road.
Yes, it was a gravel road.
That was a little dustier, wasn't it?
It was, and I reached out to you when we were looking to purchase property. We had reached out to somebody on the board then when we were looking at purchasing it. And I purchased it years before I built on it.
Right.
And that was something contingent on us buying the property. We were told by the county that there was plans to pave it, and so, but this zoning issue, none of this was really brought to us in contingency of purchasing out there. And I think we would have definitely reconsidered moving if we knew that somebody was going to be operating a dirt pit.
There was one operating when you bought out there.
There's one on Stoll Ridge.
Stump Ridge.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Where you were at, there was a dirt pit approved for moving dirt where your lots and other lots, and then outside of that area.
Can you speak maybe more of where that was at in conjunction to where I'm at now?
Do what now?
Can you speak about where exactly that was at that you're speaking about?
Tim, tell her.
I'm not sure exactly where she is in relation to the pit area. I'm saying that the dirt pit was a little bit between this dirt pit and Stoll Road was where he was mining.
Okay, this is about 100 yards from my house now. So I'm not.
This is about 100 yards.
Are you north,
Yes.
if that's
I'm
north?
I'm literally like 2 lots from this where the sign is. I'm like 2 lots from that sign.
Now, where, is your lot on the screen right there?
Let me look. I don't have my glasses. So I can't see. I'm sorry.
Cause he's mine and,
This is where he's mining, correct?
Right.
Right.
Okay, and I don't know, is this the property that they just purchased it, like in the back?
No, the lots are gonna be up there in that blue square.
Oh, okay. I don't know what lot I am, but I believe I'm lot 3. I'm the 3rd lot from the property.
You're
Come
right
down.
there.
Come,
Yes, that's where I'm at. No, this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
Yes.
right.
well, that's,
They won't even be coming out, they gonna enter the road where that red square is.
Okay.
and where they're digging a pit is back here in the back corner on a high spot. I don't know exactly what that distance is, but I can promise you it's more than.
Then 100 yards.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And that was something I was unaware of in going to this,
Yeah.
going into this meeting. I was unaware of
Okay.
the actual plans of it. So those are my biggest thing is just the corrosion, of course, safety issues with our children, and property value. That's a big deal. For people that are trying to sell their homes out there, my husband's active duty. I've served in the military. This will be my 16th year for the state of
Appreciate you
Mississippi.
for your
Yeah,
service.
thank you. And so he's up for relocation this summer, and there might be a chance that we have to sell our property. So there's a lot of factors with that affect our family, you know. So,
Thank you.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This gentleman here, yes, sir.
Good morning.
morning.
My name's Andy Thomas. I live at 163 Stump Ridge Road, so I'm farther down toward Holly Bush. I come to speak in opposition to it for a number of reasons. So we've been out there about 3 years now. You know, we have to deal with the McLean mine on Holly Bush every day. And I'll say this, you talk about conditions and things that you prohibit them doing, well, they're not enforced. The dust is constant right there. I live over the hill from the McLean mine on Stump Ridge. It comes over all the time. It's on the road. It actually came to a head on Friday morning as they had not cleaned up the road. There was lots of dirt and mud out there from the rains. There was a 3-car accident right there in front of the mine. After that, later in the day, one of the 18-wheeler dumpsters slid off the road in the ditch because they don't maintain it. It's not enforced. The cleaning standards are not enforced. They do have a sweeper out there. They do so often, but I mean, within an hour, it's back to the same way. The gravel's out there. So there's constant traffic issues right there. There's constant dust, constant rocks on the road. Chipped windows, chipped paint. I know all first world problems, but it's problems the residents out there commuting deal with every day. The numbers he's presented to you for 1,000 trucks a day is not off. And the hours that you talk about operating from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. is not correct, because just this morning I get up and go work out at 5:10 a.m. there were trucks turning in to that mine on Holly Bush. So if they're doing that there, there's nothing to prevent them from doing that for this mine either. Just a few weeks ago, and I have videos from driving, there were 20 trucks lined up to get into the Holly Bush mine. 20 trucks. They were out in the middle of the road. I had to go off. This is at 5:45 in the morning. I know this because I get up to go work out every morning. 20 trucks lined up there at 5:45 in the morning to get in. And it doesn't matter what time of day you come down Holly Bush, you're gonna count 10, 15, 20 trucks coming and going all the time, daylight to dark. So the fact you say there's conditions, they're not enforced. Like you well know, the speed limit, there is nobody that runs radar out there. There's no way to really patrol the speed unless they have an accident. Quite honestly, I'm surprised somebody hadn't been killed yet by these trucks. Holly Bush is bad enough. It's a 2-lane country road once you get past the Cypress Lodge. Stump Ridge is even smaller. You know, there is no shoulder. You run off the road, you're in the grass. These dump trucks, and especially these big 18-wheeler trucks, they go too fast. They don't have any, essentially their width is the same as the road, the lane they have. So they don't have room for error, so they're constantly over the line. You know, you come over the curve, you come over the hill on Holly Bush, they're jerking back and trying to get in their lane almost all the time. I've seen multiple cars get run off the road in the shoulder just because they're going too fast or they're coming over, people don't have anywhere to go. talk about quiet enjoyment of your home. I understand people have private property rights, but I would imagine Ms. Vaughn doesn't have a dirt pit next to her house. All of us out there do on Holly Bush, and this would be right next to more down the road. I understand that the plan would be for them to go down Stump Ridge and Stull. Well, Stull's got several bad curves right there in the middle. It's a straightaway, but
It's got an S curve. in it.
yeah, it's you got to slow down a lot to get through there without. And so these dump trucks, I don't see them slowing down because they don't slow down anywhere else. They don't slow down on Holly Bush. We already have lots of big trucks out there just due to the normal development. Houses are going up all the time. They have been for the past several years, and they're going to continue. And I can see the writing on the wall. You talk about 4 acres now. Well, 4 acres now is going to turn into 8. It's going to turn into 16. It's going to turn into a big lake, and then it's going to turn into another development. So it's not going to stop in a few months. I mean,
No, we can't stop growth.
I understand. I'm not telling you to stop growth.
And the
but-
conditions.
But 4 acres is not gonna. It's not
Right.
gonna stop at 4 acres.
Okay. Well, dirt's got to come from somewhere. Whether it
I
comes
get it.
from,
There's a
from
whole
that-
state full of
right.
dirt. There's a whole state full of
And
dirt.
as far as the conditions, I mean, yes, that's just like the speed limit signs. If people would obey the speed limit signs, we wouldn't need radar. We wouldn't need police officers. I mean.
So you're admitting the conditions aren't gonna be enforced, right
No,
there.
I'm admitting when we get a phone call like the wreck you was talking about last week, we address that. If somebody don't notify us at the county office that there's an issue going on, we don't have any idea about that.
So we need to call every day.
If there's something every day that they're doing wrong and it needs to be addressed, yes. But I mean, what I'm just telling you is, nobody is perfect unless somebody calls and notifies us. You know, we set these conditions just like there's laws out there set. Well, people don't go by them. You know, we do what we try to do, but unless somebody notifies us, you know, I mean, we don't know what's taking place. When we find out what's taking place, hey, when people call me about something in my area, hey, I address it, you know, but, and I understand you're against it, don't want the dirt, you know, pit, but I mean, it's just, that's just part of growth and.
The people, they talk about the prime time to hit it. You mentioned, I wanted to wait till the prime time to do it. Well, the prime time wasn't after you built and developed dozens and dozens of private residents out there. Maybe the prime time was 4 years ago, before all those homes were particularly in this area. That would have been the time to mine it, not if you built all these homes around it. I mean, people are spending $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 on homes out there. They didn't spend that money to have a dirt pit next to their home. They didn't spend it to have constant dump trucks down the road. You have kids waiting out at the end of their driveways for school buses every day, and you've got dump trucks and dirt trucks flying by. That's just not safe. You've got parents commuting to work, taking their kids to school every morning, having to deal with this. 20 trucks from 2 miles down Holly Bush, where the mine is, to 25. You'll see on average 20 trucks in that 5-minute span of road. It'll be the same thing on Stull if you do this. So I know you're saying this mine isn't that big, but it's not gonna stop at 4 acres. I know that's not what you're considering today, but I'm telling you, it won't stop at 4 acres. And I would be surprised at all these people that stood up to support it. I'd be interested in how many of them live on Stump Ridge, because I've spoken to a lot of residents out there. Nobody is in favor of it. We understand there's gonna be development. I'm not against private property rights or people developing their property, but this is different. This isn't somebody building a home on some acres they bought or land that they owned. This is the noise from the Holly Bush mine. I can hear it from half a mile away all day. I work from home several days a week, and it's constant. Sounds like Interstate 20 out there on Holly Bush. That's what it sounds like, because these trucks are constantly going back and forth.
Let me ask this. How many lots are left that have been designed, that have platted, that there's no home or the construction is ongoing? Probably half of the proposed,
I'm not
maybe,
sure.
not
On Stump Ridge, there's not a lot of lots left.
No, I'm
on
talking
Stump
about
Ridge.
that community.
But, well, there's off of Stump Ridge, there's a road right south.
Yes.
Or right, that they're developing. I think it's about 20 lots in there. I know there's a couple homes that are up. I don't know that any of them have moved in yet.
Right.
So there's probably about 16 to 18 lots in there that are yet to be developed.
And then
There's another one off of Stull going back in there. I know it's a lot of lots, I'm not sure.
Right.
Once this is done, once they get done mining the dirt and build the lake, this will probably be another 20 or 30 back in there. It's gonna keep coming.
You were saying the perfect time, probably halfway through developing this community as it is, as the plat is now, the plats that's already on record, been filed, I'd say there's less than 50% of people living in houses in the plats that are on record. So the
No, I think there's a lot more than that. I've been here 3 years.
Have you seen
The houses
all
on
the
Stump
plats?
Ridge have doubled
Yeah.
in the time I've been here.
Have you seen the plats of what is platted
To
be developed? To be developed.
I've seen the plats for what they're developing right now. I haven't seen the plats for the future. I don't know. There's a lot of
I'm talking about the
property out
ones
there
that's been
behind.
filed. But anyhow, what I'm saying is, I guess you could not ever pick a perfect time.
Sure.
We're probably halfway through with that development, which those lots will, like, I think Sid said, or Brad, when you build a home, just about every time you need dirt either in or out.
I get it.
And so somebody's gonna be coming in and out with dirt in
Regardless.
your area nearly every day to be able to build the
But it's
house.
different, a truck bringing it in for a home site
When it's you.
and
Yeah,
somebody
when you
knows.
need it.
No, it's different for everybody.
No, that's
When they're
right,
mining it
right,
beside
right,
your
right. I
house
understand.
constantly.
Okay, I understand.
But to your point, we already have a lot of dump trucks coming in and out.
I know.
This is just going to add on top of that.
I'm sure it will, but I have a feeling that this dirt pit will be able to supply dirt in that area for cheaper price than coming.
Pardon me if I don't trust your feelings, because
Thank you.
I see what it is every day. Like I said, he said there's conditions and restrictions on the mine pit on
No, you
Holly
didn't
Bush that's already
address
there,
address
but
what
they're
I
not
said.
enforced.
Address what I said.
Hmm?
Where you live, if
Yes.
you wanted to buy dirt, and there's a pit a half a mile from you, do you think he could haul it and sell it to you cheaper than if it's coming from Richland or Flowood or somewhere else?
Perhaps, but the dirt it being mined at Holly Bush isn't staying right there.
Not all of it.
Most of it's going down to Flowwood Drive.
What I'm saying is, if you need dirt,
I don't need dirt.
okay, you don't.
Most
now.
people need some dirt for a home site.
You don't.
Your house needed dirt.
You don't need
They
dirt.
did,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
they didn't mine it next to my house.
We understand your position.
Okay,
I
thank
think-
you.
I get it. I just think you care because you don't live beside it. If you live
I do.
beside the dirt mine, you would care more.
I do care.
He does.
I care.
We all care.
I can tell you I care.
Let's move on.
Who else would like to speak in opposition?
I would really like to speak before my baby leaves.
Okay, please.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jessica Emmons, and I live at 832 Mount Him Road, but I'm the corner of, I don't know if we can get there.
It's not there.
Okay, so I'm the corner of Stump Ridge and Mount Him, right next to a church. We have just been out there a couple of months, actually, so we're kind of new, but I've had the land for about 5 years. My biggest concern here is, like a couple people have said, the roads. Right now, the Holly Bush Road is very dangerous without the mud sitting on the road, and I've heard about the wrecks on Friday morning. I unfortunately know someone who lost twins on Holly Bush Road years ago, and it really scares me actually to go down there. So right now, I do go down Holly Bush, but I also use Stull when I know it's been raining a lot or it's dark or whatever. So my concern now is you're using two of my roads to get out of my neighborhood or my street. That is my biggest concern right now. And of course, like I said, the traffic, but we have that traffic. I understand that. It's just really the roads. I don't know if there's another way we could
Well,
have a different road.
let me see if I can help you with one part of this. It's my understanding that the dirt pit at Holly Bush will be slowing down tremendously.
Okay.
And
Is there
this
a way
one-
we could clean up the dirt that's currently
Yes,
on the roads
yes.
right now? Okay.
There's some things, I went there when we had the wreck.
Rex.
And when I got the call, it was, I had several, and it was screaming, there's 10 wrecks, there's kids
no.
all over the place,
Yeah.
hurt, I get there and.
It was just people sliding off.
Well, it was actually, one car hit the rear of another one, and it was a mess. what happened was nobody expected a rain. They are required to sweep at the end of each day. Obviously, they did not sweep that day.
It's kind of caked on there
Yeah.
right now, so if there's a way we could
They
get a
can,
good
they can
clean.
wash
They
it,
washed
they can
it.
wash it.
They-
Well, today it's still caked on there
Well,
this morning coming
it's-
here,
it-
so
Yeah.
not as bad, but it's still there.
We address it, our road manager contacts the manager of the dirt pit, and there's things that, they were required to do. I don't wanna air everybody's laundry, but the operator, the owners of the dirt pit felt I mean, they didn't want this to happen either, but it did put them under a taxing, thing that goes on, and it also, when that happened, I think the pit down in your area felt
Right.
the results of it as far as maintaining the area out on the roads. Hopefully, if this goes, then that will slow, well, by the time they start hauling out of this one, in short order, the one on Holly Bush will be slowed down a lot. I think they're about through over there.
Is there any
Tim?
way
You
to like
wanna-
have
you
a
wanna
different
take the
road
baby
coming
from
through
her?
there? Like,
You
I know
hold it.
Mount Helm's not really passable because of the gravel, and then I can't go all the way down Stump Ridge to get out at the other end because it's gravel and it's really rough.
Yeah, that's where I live.
So there's a little gravel between me and
Yeah.
you, and it's rough. I tried to go down the other day, and my son was like, "Mommy, why are we on a roller coaster?" I really would like a safe. That's my biggest concern. There's many other concerns. However, my biggest concern is a safe way to get out, especially in the rain. You know, I can't just keep my kids home if it's raining. I have to take them to school. Truancy's involved there, so I can't just say, "Oh, it's raining and there's going to be dirt on the road and I can't get through."
They generally don't haul. Hey, could you turn that light off? It's bothering me. They generally don't haul when it's raining.
It's just, it hauls and then a little bit of
It
it
can
does
rain,
fall.
then they can come in
And then
track
that's when
out.
it gets
Yeah,
caked
track
on the
out.
road, and so I don't know, you know, maybe we, I don't know, have regular cleanings of the roads or something, I don't know, but that's my biggest
And
concern.
we up the cleaning, you know, to a third party, you know, to start cleaning them, 3 days a week, you know, thoroughly cleaning better, you know. I
Is that
think
what you
that's-
did?
Yeah,
Mike did it across the board.
yeah, so that's gonna take into, you know, effect also, so that should help, you know, with that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, y'all have a
Thank
great day.
Is there anyone that wishes to interpose an objection that hasn't already been stated? Okay, thank you.
I'm Trina Emmons, and I live at 423 Stump Ridge, which the driveway that this is coming out of is my driveway. So just to give a little back history, kind of like the lady did before, my family's been in Rankin County for 105 years. So we are not anybody special, we're no special name, we're just hardworking, middle-class people.
I don't know, that is a pretty good name.
Well, actually, I didn't even consider that side. I was considering my personal side. So Russ's family might have been here even longer than 105 years. But anyway, we moved out of Pearl after 70 years to come to this part of Rankin County. That was my daughter-in-law who just spoke. We are very fortunate that our kids wanted us to be next to them while they're raising their kids. We built a house. My daughter lives next door. My son lives about 4 houses down. I have 5 grandbabies. The area is not safe. It's not safe for my grandbabies. My daughter tries to walk her babies in a double stroller. She's off the side of the road. This is on Stump Ridge. 2 trucks cannot pass and somebody be on the side of the road. That's why we moved out there. We moved out there for our grandbabies to walk to grandma's house, walk to cousin's house to play. And we're right there. So it's gonna hugely impact us. And I reached out to Seth, no answer. We asked when we bought the property, of course, just hoping by word of mouth, he said it was agricultural. They had no intention to doing anything with it. So that, we've been there about a year. I understand things change, as y'all are saying. But my question is, and when I asked him with no response, is this a 6-week project? Is it 6 months? Is it a year? I have no idea how long it takes to dig out 4 acres of land. We can be inconvenienced, but also we want to make educated decisions. If this is something ongoing, we're gonna all uproot our families and we'll go somewhere else. So again, we can accomplish what we feel like is a blessing, that we can all raise our kids together. We can't do that there. And then, as my daughter-in-law was saying, if y'all are, I had no idea you were taking this down Stoll. That's our only safe way of getting out. So we go out of the way to go down Stoll, because Hollybush is impassable. I mean, it is slick as ice when you hit that dirt. And if y'all are saying that you're gonna hold someone accountable to clean that, keep it clean, tell us who that is so we can reach out to whoever we need to reach out to. I reached out when we moved there, and I guess you got the word, or I tagged you on Facebook. Thankful we got lines on the road. I can't see at night, so I follow the lines. We got lines on the road on Hollybush, lines are gone. 3 months later, they're covered in dirt, they're packed it down, so you have no lines to even follow. So, and Stump Ridge has no lines. So I don't know how y'all can deem any of that safe for us traveling in and out, and especially if Stoll is gonna become a Hollybush. So that, does anybody know how long this project takes?
It depends
On the
how
market.
much activity they have at any given time. If they're on a project, they could get 4 acres worth of dirt out of there literally in a week. If it's a big highway project, it wouldn't take long at all for them to mine 4 acres out of there. But if they're gonna sell it in a much slower pace or for residential uses, it may take quite a while for a 4-acre mine to be emptied out.
So are they required to tell y'all that, or that's just at their discretion to
It's
use it
all
how they
depending on
want?
the market. I mean, you demand it.
Okay.
It just depends on, I assume, you know, what job they have come up, or somebody needing dirt. You know, it's, I mean, I hate to say it, truthfully, they probably don't know. You know, when somebody might need some, or they have a project come, you know, up that they would need it.
I know Pittsburgh School's fixing to have to do a big add-on to the school. They're gonna need a lot of dirt. So I'm not saying that's where they're gonna get, the school district would get it from, but I mean, that would probably be one of the closest places for them to get it.
We understand.
Okay.
Thank you.
We just reach out to you. So you were saying too, like, the actual pit, who do we contact if we feel like that's not
The
being
county.
Well,
looked at?
call.
Cause I don't know
you
what to
can
go over
look-
there and look at.
Call the road manager's office, and they've got 2 full-time secretaries, and when I say the office, don't try to call the road manager. He's got a cell phone, but it's in his ear on 18 hours a day, so you're gonna go to a voicemail that's probably full. Call his office. He's got 2 secretaries, and they will take notes and get the information back to either me and the county, people that need to be there. This guy is involved in that process. It does a lot better to go through the route that we have. So my answer to you would be call the road manager's office, and then it can go to wherever it needs to go.
And listen, last week, between me and District 4, we had an issue with the pit. Well, our building department's got the right to go out and shut them down. And they shut them down until they make the necessary improvements. And it was, they coming out, making a turn, some of the dirt falling off on Shallow Road. And I mean, they got it addressed, and it was a done deal. They fixed the issue. But I'm not
So
saying.
us as citizens are supposed to monitor that, not y'all. I mean, how often do y'all come out?
We're gonna be in the best place because
because you're gonna be right there at it.
Right, I
You
already have
asked, who
cameras
do I
up, so
call?
y'all can,
You
you can
asked
see the
who-
hundreds of dump trucks that are already coming down our driveway, so.
You asked, who do I call? That's why I told you that.
Right, yeah, but I mean, like,
Well,
so
that's-
we should be keeping up with it, like,
I'm not
nobody
telling
comes
you-
out like
I'm not
on a
telling you
regular
you should.
basis to monitor it or
no,
see
We've
it.
got 1,000 miles of county roads,
Okay,
so we can't monitor.
I mean, the actual pit,
There
does
is a
somebody,
pit manager,
okay, so somebody will be there regularly to, okay,
yes.
okay,
And our office will be in direct contact. He responds. The one that is gonna be doing this, that I understand is who they will hire if it is approved, has a really good relationship with our road manager, and just
will
like
our
Brian.
roads be fixed prior to this starting? I mean, like, Stump Ridge already has potholes, sinkholes, I mean, so, is it not gonna be fixed till after all of this?
I think you guys are gonna want the road to be repaired after the majority of the hauling has ceased. No reason to go out and do an expensive repair job only to have it torn up again by large dump trucks.
They'll maintain the road.
Yeah,
That's
we
the-
will
yeah.
maintain it, but
But
fix.
you've seen the
I've seen it.
sinkholes and the things that are there
Yes,
now?
yes, I
Okay,
have.
cause this morning it was a lot worse than it was yesterday,
I hadn't seen it this morning.
yeah.
I-
I mean, you have to stop
been-
and I mean, you can't get over it.
Well, we don't wanna be like Jackson, so.
Okay.
Right.
And thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Keep, just for one, and we do have the ability to write a ticket to a truck that is speeding or driving reckless. It's limited to a very few people that we have, I guess you'd call the sheriff and us deputized. But there's only like 3, and that this is a, what do you call it, a secondary part of their job. Because we started this, it's not used in Mississippi very much. We can't get out of control with it, or we could get that part shut down. So when there is a severe problem, we do send our guys out, and they have written some tickets. They will pull over big trucks. I've heard, and I'm gonna tell you, in the last couple of weeks, not on Holly, I hadn't done this on Holly Bush, but between Holly Bush and where their end point, West Rankin, I have not found those trucks speeding or driving dangerously. These guys that are driving for this company that's hauling out of the Holly Bush, they have been pretty safe from what I've seen. Now, they may get on Holly Bush and take off and run 70, but they're not doing it on 25 and other places.
That's because you have Flowood Police on 25.
Well, Flowood Police only come to 471 Bridge.
Yeah, they go past there.
Well,
through Flowood
it's
Drive.
just about the same amount of distance from where they come out of Holly Bush to 471 as it is. I mean, there is a great distance that Flowood does not patrol.
Can we let this gentleman?
Absolutely.
Yes, let's do that.
Step forward, please. Thank you.
I'm Don Hagewood,
Nah.
live at 646 Stowe Road. I bought my property in 2021. I actually called Steve and said, Steve, were they gonna pave this road, you know? And he said eventually, yeah, they did, you know, and so I took my life savings and I'm retired now, I built a nice house out there. And never in my dreams would I believe that people would be able to, you know, build nice homes out there and have to, put up with a dump pit out there. I would have never bought out there. It sounds like a lot of you are already made your mind up. And there's such a need for the dirt, then why can't we get a time period on this? You know, if it's such a big need for it. And I'm on Stowe Road, so that's gonna be the path going out. My mother-in-law just built my son-in-law's mom just built a new house in the new section off of Stoll. And there's about 5 or 6 going up right now in the new section. I guess it's my fault I didn't ask if there's gonna be a dirt pit out there. And I think the roads, I drove a truck for almost 39 years. And another issue that I'm really concerned with is when Stoll Road runs into 25, it's at an angle. It doesn't go straight in, it's at an angle. And getting across there in a car sometimes, if you're gonna turn left, it's pretty hard. If you're turning right, you've got cars that, if I saw a truck sitting there going to turn right, I'd get over the left-hand lane, but they don't do that. It's gonna be an issue there. And by driving that truck, and I know everybody's not a good truck driver or whatever, that mirror, especially at that angle that you're at when you come up there, it will block that car coming from you unless you're a really good truck driver, or you're gonna miss it. And that would be a horrible accident for a car coming down 65 miles an hour to hit a dump truck pulling out in front of them. And I think that's the issue that hasn't been mentioned today.
You live on that end.
I live
I know.
3/4 of a mile from Stump Ridge.
Right.
There's a little curve, and there's I live before the big S curve.
In between the little curve and this curve.
That's correct.
Yeah. That road, in Stump Ridge, were initially logging roads.
Right.
And I think since you've been there, there's been logging activity up and down Stoll Road. It's not been the last probably since we built the road. I mean, since we made it asphalt.
Sure.
So, I know you know what it sounds like for trucks to come by.
Yeah, and that other issue was, you mentioned earlier about the hauling hours from 7 to 7. Is that what you said?
Right. Yes.
Okay. Well, that means what time they're gonna show up at 4 in the morning? Because most dump trucks load out of Crystal Springs, 4 o'clock in the morning, they start loading up. So you're gonna have trucks coming in, and they're gonna get in line to get an order. So it's not gonna be, is it gonna be 7 o'clock hours of operation, or they're gonna be, they can't start hauling, or they're gonna start 4, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning? They're gonna be coming in there.
They should be able to start hauling till 7, now. If a dump truck gets there, 4 till 7 or 6:30, but am I correct on that? They're not supposed to do any operation with the track hoe or anything, noise till 7.
Till 7.
Right.
We've actually never addressed the specifics about the operation. We just said the hours of operation. We've never defined what that means.
Yeah, you said hauling, hours of hauling earlier, so like I said,
It sounds like to me that, one thing we may need to clarify from now on in our conditional use permits and in our instructions is that, if any of the staging activity is going to be occurring on a public road, that can't happen.
They can stage out on the front.
Yeah, so.
yeah, but just the noise of driving in at 4 o'clock in the morning. The people
Well, I understand.
those people
that.
live close by, they're loud, and it's just.
We may need to address that directly, and this may be the occasion to do it, since you've got a lot of residences in close proximity. This may be the occasion to suggest that we don't want any operations of any kind, whether that be arrival, staging, anything, before 7 a.m.
So how do you do that? Because the dump trucks, if I'm a guy hauling dirt, I'm gonna send my guy at 7 o'clock and let him get 18 trucks behind. It just don't work that way. They got to make money too, and to make money they can't sit in there is no good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's, after we get through, if it's approved, let's look at how much drive is in there. Cause to say no activity until 7, then we're putting the trucks rolling in right during the time people are trying to get out.
School buses.
Yes. So to me, it may be okay to leave it the way it is, to where the trucks, there's a lot of ground that they can pull into here.
Certainly.
They wouldn't be parking on.
They wouldn't be parking out
And
by
I
the
see,
houses.
is that, the stump ridge right there coming into 25, you see right there?
No, Stump Ridge, I mean, if you go south, it's,
25.
it's not very far down to where you can turn on Mount Ham and go out to 25, and then you go, I wanna say 2.5 miles further, and it Holly Bush, and then Holly Bush goes out to 25, but the right past where this red corner crosses, where it crosses the road is Stump Ridge. That's Stump Ridge Road. They have property on just the other side, and this. But you go up to about where the screen turns off, just maybe a little further, and that's where Stoll Road tees in to Stump Ridge. And it's a straight shot, other than where Mr. Haygood lives. There is a couple of curves in there, and then it's straight to 25. And then the way a truck driver would notice that where Stoll comes into 25, it is not a straight across shoot to the median cut. So they will,
That's why I told him that we need to maybe, if it passes, whatever, address maybe straightening that up a little bit so
With
they're
them,
not at a.
well, yeah, I mean,
the road, you know, so they're not pulling at
yes,
an angle
yeah.
and trying to look
yeah.
back.
Well, that'd be on us and MDOT. It's MDOT's where the way it comes.
Kinda like the Star
Right.
Road it is, they coming out pretty much on.
What we can
require.
It's limited, it's MDOT's jurisdiction.
The dirt gets about 3,000 feet back from the edge of the property.
3,000
feet.
Wow, that's a lot more than 100 foot.
Well, Steve, like, when you pull off the Skull and cross 25, excuse me, when you cross 25, if you're going to the left, if you're going back south,
Yep.
you've got a median there between the two where you can, and so if you've got an 18 wheeler, not a bob truck,
It can't.
there's no way he can go straight. He has to be at an angle. So he's gonna block the cars going south on 25 to turn on Stull. He's gonna block the whole thing because he can't stay out in the road. If he's got a bob truck, he can get a little bit of an angle and not block. But if he's an 18 wheeler, he's gonna be blocking the whole thing. And so that's a very dangerous point there. But
MDOT will have.
MDOT would have to.
but the deal about to start at 7 o'clock in the morning, you're still gonna have big trucks coming there at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
Really?
Yeah, they haul early. They haul early and.
Is there anybody else that is here to speak in opposition before I come back? Yes, please.
My name's Henry McKnight. I'm at 439 Stump Ridge. I'm just about directly across from where the dirt pit will be coming. I mean, it's all fine and dandy. Let them get their dirt out. But obviously, time frame. I mean, we don't want this going on for a 6-year operation. I mean, if they get in there and they're 6 months later, they're out. I mean, it is what it is. Other address would be, I have 2 kids. We're right there, front yard, backyard. Ride a golf cart, ride a four-wheeler, whatever. Like earlier said, Stoll Road is the only safe exit at the time. I don't even go Holly Bush. I just turn left and go straight out. So on this corner right here, there's their entrance, that is mine. So I just turn, I go left, I go to Stoll Road. It is what it is. I cross 25, it's fine. Now we're gonna be fighting dump trucks that way and fighting dump trucks that way. It is 0.55 miles from their entrance to Stoll Road to turn left. It is 0.77 miles from their entrance to Mount Helm Road to turn right. Well, of course, y'all know MDOT is doing, I suppose, what they're doing up there at Cold Bluff, where they gotta go out, do a U-turn and come around instead of cutting straight across. Why can't we just go down Mount Helm? It's gravel, who cares? There's 5 houses, there's 25 houses on Stoll. Those 5 people, I mean, it's dirt road, it's gravel, it is what it is. They got all the people coming from the landfill. What's 10 more trucks at that point? I mean, the road's already tore up. the road's gonna stay tore up. It's gravel, it's less maintenance, less cost, you don't have to blacktop it, you don't have to fix the blacktop, throw a load of gravel when it needs it.
You're making way too much sense.
I was like, okay, and then as far as the safety measure, as far as coming across Stoll Road and hitting 25, well, they're gonna have to force and go fall in line like everybody else. I mean, they'll go down there, they'll do their little U-turn and they'll turn, and of course, MDOT has, I guess, qualified that as safe, because they did that up there at Cold Bluff. That's the safe way to get across. We've had, obviously Holly Bush is a little windy, a little curvy. Mount Helm, it's pretty straight. You got one dog leg and you got two dog legs and you're at 25. I mean, it's a 90-degree turn. You gotta stop, you gotta turn. I mean, there's no curves, there's no round in it. It's a 90-degree. You're gonna have to stop, slow down, and turn. If they dump over, they're gonna be in a ditch and they're gonna have a problem. Stoll Road, it's maneuverable where you can curve. I mean, I tell you, I do it myself. I curve it. I will cut into the other lane, and I mean, it's just part of driving and being in a hurry sometimes. Can we not just go down Mount Helm for the little bit of the quarter acre?
We will look at it. I promise you that I don't think that there's gonna be an argument other than these lots that are between where this comes out on Stump Ridge and.
Can we zoom out the map a little bit, or is that all you got?
I mean, all I'm saying is, if you're going south, you're gonna be in front of many more houses.
But are we, by the time you go, count the households from their entrance to Mount Helm and then out, and then count the households from that entrance to the right and out.
I think.
And the traffic, do the traffic count. How many people are going down Mount Helm versus how many going down Stoll Road? I mean, it just makes sense. There's less people going down Mount Helm, which would be more liability if you go down Stoll, because you have everybody that even lives past Stoll Road towards your house, which is where the gravel, I mean, there's not many houses, but there's 6 or 7 more lots that have been built. Well, they're gonna come to Stoll and they're gonna take a right and they're gonna go to 25. I mean, then you got both sides of the road, you see all the lots. There's only 4 lots that haven't been built on. And then you got on Stoll, you got the traffic. That's on the new development, they got 25 more lots back there. 90% of them are sold. I think there's 6 lots that are not sold. The rest of them are sold, being built on, halfway finished. There's 1 or 2 already about to be moving in, if they have not. So then you got all that traffic. And I know Michael Brooks, if he's even in the picture anymore, he's got, like you said, you were throwing your plat map out. Do you know how many plat map out, whatever's, there's gonna be 34, 50, 60 more houses go behind my house, which we've seen the plat for at one point, then it disappeared, now it's for sale. I mean, that is what it is. It's a growing neighborhood. Like I said, it is what it is. They have the dirt, they wanna sell the dirt. I mean, let them have their dirt. But why can't we just go the most common sense route? Why, they have plenty of backing up. Mr. Seth has, he'll let me ride my kids and stuff on the little field and on the four-wheeler. There's plenty of driveway, plenty of access for them to pull in a dump truck.
All right, let me ask you this. What if they can go either way? Is that bad or good?
I mean, you're just making even more blacktop damaged. I mean, because from their entrance to Holly Bush is we just have normal traffic, like you addressed earlier. They have them coming through. Whether they're going to Pisgah, whether they're going out there to Leesburg, they're going somewhere. It's a good mini truck. Some of them turn on Stoll and they go back out that way to avoid the Holly Bush red light and all that stuff. When they come out of Holly Bush dirt pit, they come out, they turn left on Stump Ridge, they go. Don't know where they're going. I'm sure some of it's houses. You're gonna have dirt coming to houses. Like I said, they gotta have dirt. It's part of it. Anything going up 25, I mean, they gotta have dirt. I mean, there's a gas station being built up there. I mean, anybody in Leesburg, Scott Mays building some houses out there off of Tommy's, all that development's coming up, Pisgah Place. I mean, dirt's dirt. It's gonna have to be from somewhere. They got it, they want it, they might as well get it. I mean, it is what it is. You're probably gonna pass it, and I'm fine with that. I just want to do the safest route. What's wrong with doing the safest, most logical route? There's probably 1 mile of blacktop from their entrance to gravel road on Mount Helm, where it converts into the gravel. You're gonna have, he lives, I think he said 3/4 of a mile off of 25. you're gonna have every bit of 4 miles, probably 3.5, 4 miles of blacktop that you're gonna have to maintain, whether you do it or MDOT does it, whoever does it. Somebody's gonna have to maintain it when it comes to bust it up. And I mean, like I said, it's only a little bit older than, what, 1.5 years, 2 years maybe?
Yep.
And then they're developing all that new stuff. When dump trucks are gonna have to go in there to build the house paths, to build the road. I mean, that's part of it. But why are you gonna go ahead and destroy it now before they ever do it? Cause then, when they get done with their dirt, they've done sold their dirt, you shut them down, whatever. Okay, well now Michael Brooks or whoever wants to buy the land that's directly behind my house, it's platted out, Southern Pine, Central Electric already got their power ran. I mean, all they gotta do is their plumbing and blacktop. Well, whenever they come in there, well, you're just like, well, let's not blacktop it until they get done with their development. And that's gonna be another 150 houses back there, or however many it is, whether they do it in 2, 3 phases. I mean, why can't, logical sense would just say, turn left, go to Mount Helm, turn right. You're in the middle of all the other traffic. The road down Mount Helm isn't destroyed. I mean, it is what it is from the landfill. I mean, it's just, they did the same operation. They have dirt trucks coming in and out. To me, that would be, most logical sense would be turn left, affect the 20 houses, 25 houses, and then turn right on the Mount Helm. And then you're not adding the Holly Bush. If Holly Bush people want to come down and turn, they go left on the Mount Helm. If y'all want to blacktop Mount Helm, y'all go for it. I don't care. So if y'all want to just throw money in the ground, just throw money, I mean, make it smooth for a dump truck, go for it. But there's no need to destroy Stoll Road from there all the way to 25 when you can go just about the same distance, if not shorter, and then you avoid the whole problem of crossing over 25, the mirror in the way, the median, because then you're going to want to do that. Well, you send them down Stoll Road. Well, then MDOT's going to come back and say, well, we need to cut this off and make them do another little roundabout down there, and then it's just never any problem.
Okay.
That would be my opinion. Thank y'all for your time. Send them down Mount Helm.
We will
Makes
address
sense.
this with the road manager.
All right.
And an engineer. And, you know, sometimes what seems to be most logical, what makes most common sense, there ends up being a reason that they're not doing what you're saying. But I don't know that reason.
Well,
So-
we can count the houses from their entrance to Mount Helm, and the houses from the entrance to Stoll to 25, and I can guarantee you there's gonna be a lot less houses.
Okay.
And their property value might be bigger because they got bigger houses or something, but there's more people you're affecting going down Stoll. I don't even care about the dirt pit. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna have a dump truck in my front yard at 6 o'clock. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you can't stop it. No, I don't want them piled up down the side of the road, but I know for sure they have plenty of road frontage they can pull in. They're out of the way. They can stack 20, 30 dump trucks deep and not even be touching the blacktop, which is fine. I mean, it is what it is. Put a gate up and block them from going downhill. But just turn left and then get out, and then when they go to Mount Helm, it'll be a lot safer for everybody. Everybody has a safer route to get out to 25 without having dump trucks, because the normal person does not want to go down Mount Helm Road, then still end up with dump trucks from the landfill. That's all I'm saying.
I can
Thank you for
assure
your
you
time.
there's people even here that would disagree with you. So, but we will have Mike consider that.
Gentlemen, we've been at it for
A long time.
A long time. What's the pleasure of the board as it relates to comments on this matter? Are we?
I mean, they took off the day to be here. They want to speak.
I mean, if there's something that hadn't been brought up.
Addressed.
Or if there's, yes, sir.
Not in opposition before, whenever you get to that.
Okay.
You've heard from the applicant themselves. Does the board want to entertain additional comments in favor before we move on?
Yes, sir. I'd like for one or two.
I'll be brief. I appreciate it. Good afternoon, or good morning, rather. My name's Justin Mafus. I live, I've got property at 530 Clark Staples Road. Also have property at 773 Mount Helm. And, you know, at the end of the day, I'm a local property and landowner. You know, I've been here for a long time. I've watched a lot of this development go on, watched the paving of these roads. I've watched at least 6 or 7 other dirt pits within a 5-mile geographical area of the proposed pit have come, run their life cycle, and have closed. Dirt pits aren't new to this area. They're not driven by just want. I'm pretty sure that Mr. Bilbrow's got plenty of stuff to do. It's driven by necessity, right? It's driven by necessity is the requirement to expand houses, everything else. They're dictated by geology.
It's not by default that he just picked an area that we want to try to mine dirt, or he wants to try to mine dirt. I've got no dog in that hunt. I've got no economic interest in it. But at the end of the day, historically, there's been a number of dirt pits in this area. You know, when I look at it, it's not about if and when a dirt pit's gonna be there. Historically, I think, and I can appreciate the comments from everyone that lives there. I live there. I watch the traffic up and down Holly Bush all day long. There's a lot of needs for road expansion and other county improvements that are not related to dirt pits. We got an ample amount of traffic associated with landfills in the area. We got a ton of school buses in the area that are picking the kids up. There's oil and gas service work that's still going on out there at Jackson Dome with Exxon and Denbury. There's a ton of logging traffic. There's a lot of traffic in that area. I remember when it was the country. I remember when it wasn't paved roads, and now everyone with natural progressions just moved that way. But I am here to speak on the character of Mr. Bilbrough. I don't have an economic interest in this pit, whether this pit goes or not, but I will say I live in the area and I need dirt. There's a lot of people that need dirt. If you come back out of the proposed area and take a left, take an immediate right on Mount Helm, there are no less than 15 or 16 houses either under construction that have already been platted and approved and are going to be constructed. That addresses none of the issues that come out of this pit and go back up the other way. There is still a huge need for dirt and material in this area because of the growth. As I understand it, this thing's about 10% of the footprint size of what's going on at McLean, and as I understand that pit is ending the near end of its life cycle. So as that pit falls off, still need dirt in the area. It just needs to be constrained, and it needs to have checks and balances put in place. But I will say this, I've contracted the service work of Mr. Bilbrough personally no less than 10 times probably over the last 10 years, unrelated to a dirt pit. I think through self-performance and vertical integration, you've got an operator that's gonna do what he says he's gonna do, someone that you can put checks and balances in place, and he will adhere to those. I think he would take the comments from the local residents. I think you can get him on the phone. I have called him 3 or 4 times because he has his own dump trucks. He runs his own dump trucks. He's sensitive to those issues. I said, Seth, we're working on a project. I've got people complaining about the speed of your dump trucks. He immediately would call the drivers, reprimand that, and fix that. At the end of the day, to me, it's about accountability. Who's accountable? Who's gonna operate this pit? Who's gonna manage the pit? Who's gonna provide a street sweeper so that it satisfies the dust control for the residents and the traffic? But at the end of the day, who's gonna ultimately close the pit and then reclaim these pits? These things don't have these big, long, elaborate lifespans. It's a short economic run philosophy that is dictated strictly on economic development and growth. We're about halfway through, I think, as Mr. Gaines said, with the construction of the platted lots. But I will say this, if you call Mr. Bilbrough, he's gonna do what he says he's gonna do. If you have an issue, he will fix it. He's done that for me multiple times, and I don't have a dog in this hunt and have no economic vested interest in it. I spend money with Mr. Bilbrough, but he has always fixed my problems. I've listened to it time and time again, not only for myself, but other people. I think you can hold him accountable. I think he'll do what is required of the job. And at the end of the day, I think there's a proper balance there between economic development and growth, and as well as the concerns of the neighbors that live right there. I can understand what they say too. So at the end of the day, I would like to speak on that. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else in favor? I would like to speak just on behalf of myself.
Good morning. Seth Bilbrough. Stump Ridge Roaders, or shall I say the majority of the South End residents, y'all are truly something. I want to enlighten y'all on a little bit of history. Unbeknownst to probably any of you in this room besides our supervisors, Stump Ridge Road and Stoll Road were built way before any of our time for the sole purpose of 18-wheelers hauling logs from thousands of acres that surround you all's homes owned by International Paper. Y'all come out here, buy 5 acres of cutover, bought from the timber company, build your house because you want to be in the Pisgah School District, and then think because you own that said 5 acres, you get to tell all the larger landowners around you what they can and cannot do with their own land. So I say all that to say this, every good thing starts on a firm foundation. Your houses, investment properties would not be standing out there today if it were not for 18-wheelers. My personal trucks have hauled to the majority of the house pads that have been built on Mount Helm, Stump Ridge, and Stoll Road. There were 0 complaints when it was your foundation being hauled, packed, or poured in. Also want to take the time to thank the people that have showed up to support us today. There are so many of them that I am sure to leave someone out, but I will start by thanking my mother, Jody and Jimmy Vaughn, my brother Cole Bilbrough, who is an avid row crop farmer and raises livestock,
Mitch Shepard, two of probably the biggest developers in Rankin County, Lee Lampton and Kelly Foster, Justin Mahfoos and Stan Mark, who is developing the Pinelands on Lakeland Drive, Chad Dixon, two people that do the majority of the house pads for all the top name builders, which are Gregory Crane and Shannon Armstrong. Ramey Harrell, who is the manager of all the timberlands that surround Stump Ridge Road and many other acreages. Also, Kelly and Mo Cameron, who happen to reside on Stump Ridge Road and on Cypress Point and do so much for our community and give back to the community. And to the others who were not able to sit with us today but have supported us, we thank them as well. Now to answer the many rhetorical questions that have been asked on the social media Stump Ridge, Stull, Mount Helm Road residents. Sadie Watson was up here earlier. One of her comments were, I thought there were covenants already in place to prevent this. This is the problem with the people who want to live in the country but want to have city/neighborhood rules. You move out here on a road where there is a landfill less than a mile through the woods the way the crow flies. There are thousands upon thousands of acres of timberland that are in rotation to be harvested, and this is most likely the route that those trucks will take hauling the logs to the mills. This is also the reason we went on record saying y'all are welcome to build and develop, but we do not want to abide by y'all's HOA rules. David Hodges, he was quite the smart one on there a lot. He said it's owned by Seth Bilbro. They have had land prior to any development, so there are no covenants. My answer to him is yes, we have had since 1978. Whether we row crop it, build chicken houses, mine dirt, put a landfill, or build a mobile home park, it is our land that we have been paying taxes on for many, many years. There are zero restrictions, covenants, other than what these well-respected supervisors approve or disapprove. David went on to say, it is one thing to run trucks to build house pads. It is another thing entirely to have commercial dirt pit in a residential area. If Mr. Gaines doesn't care, maybe it is time to vote his ass out of office. My answer to him would be, Mr. Hodges, you are showing your ignorance because McLean Dirt Pit sells 75% of its dirt to residential jobs, such as the foundation under your bedroom floor. The other 25% is commercial. That commercial you speak of is going to be needed to add on to our great and wonderful Pisgah School one day, in which most of y'all moved out here to send your children to. Mr. Gaines that you wanted to vote out so badly is the same Mr. Gaines that approved your permit for your house to be built, the same Mr. Gaines that blacktopped this road after receiving complaints of it being gravel, dusty, wet, and muddy during winter months, and is the same Mr. Gaines that has been diligently working along with the other 4 supervisors to cut the dead trees off the sides of all our county roads from the pine beetle infestation we have had over the past couple of years. Mackenzie Richardson wrote and said so many windshield chips, so many car paint chips. And the other guy in here said the same thing. Well, Miss Mackenzie, if you are here today, I would like for you to know that there is a 99.9% chance your windshield nor your paint has been broke or chipped by a piece of dirt. Your chances are much higher traveling Lakeland Drive behind a Toyota Corolla that slings up a rock and chips your paint or cracks your windshield than getting behind a dump truck. Kind of like wearing a mask in the truck by yourself. Kristen Nelson said, did you see where the new owner of the land where the bus is parked wants to make it a pit? Answer, once again, we have owned this land since 1978 and have been sitting on it because it was bought for an investment way before you bought your 5 plus or minus acres. Karen Bettles, if they allow this dirt pit to open on Stump Ridge Road, it will tear up our road. It will take away our safe neighborhood that we all moved here to the country for at a high price. Miss Karen, remember, it is our road, and it was built originally for 18-wheelers before you moved out here looking for a neighborhood that does not exist. Now that we have had to answer all these questions that we would not have had to answer 5 years ago, I would like to thank the Board of Supervisors for taking their time today to hear and ponder each side of the argument on the matter at hand. District 4 in Rankin County is where I've called home for 33 years and where we have chosen to raise our children, whom I hope will continue to invest their time and money into this great county in the years to come. At the end of the day, we are all neighbors that can agree to disagree on this matter and respect whatever decision supervisors decide. Thank y'all.
We prepared to move forward, or are we gonna entertain additional commentary?
I think we've heard it, I think we've heard enough.
Yes, sir, Mr. President.
Do we wanna close?
Yeah, gentlemen, unless there are additional, is there a need for additional information, we'll close the public hearing. This time it'd be appropriate to take action. Before we take action, let me remind the board that what we are here to determine is actually not a zoning matter. The property is zoned agricultural. There will be no action by the board that changes the underlying zoning of this property. This is a conditional use request. This is a request to utilize property in a zone, which is ag, that before mining operations are permitted, you have to have a conditional use from this board. That's why we're here. That's why we've had a public hearing, and that's why we've received comments from the community specifically to address what should the conditions be if the board makes the decision to allow the use by way of condition, all right? So when you are determining whether or not to allow as a condition, a conditional use, a mining operation in one of your zoning classifications, you go through the process of determining that there has been a satisfactory provision or arrangement for each of the following. This is set out, by the way, in your zoning ordinance. Ingress and egress to the property and the proposed structures with particular reference to vehicular and pedestrian safety and convenience, traffic flow and control, and access in case of fire or catastrophe. That's your first one. Ingress and egress issues and safety factors related thereto. Off-street parking and loading areas. And it sounds like that is something that the board has heard about and might need to address in some way as it considers the conditions. This one would not apply to refuse and service areas. This is a mining operation. We don't have a need for solid waste collection. Utilities with reference to location, availability, and compatibility, I don't think that's going to apply here. Screening and buffering, I'll mention that only from the standpoint of dust control and how dust control might be impacted by that. Any other requirements related to setbacks, that's always going to be addressed in the DEQ permit. They have to be so many feet off the property boundary before and DEQ will allow for a mining operation to happen. So that's going to be addressed even if not by this board. General compatibility with adjacent properties and other property in the district. That one is always a consideration that the board has to take into consideration here. And then any other provision deemed applicable by the Board of Supervisors. Once again, I want to go through the condition, the proposed conditions that we typically see in these situations. We always provide for an hours of operation, as I mentioned, and we do not allow hauling on Sundays. And so that is our typical standard. What those hours of operation are and the specificity with that is something the board will want to address as a condition. The need to have a water truck, and I think we heard a sweeper, would be important given the traffic that's on the public road where this ingress egress would be arranged. The posting of the warning signs for the motoring public, the requirement that the operator keep the road, our county roads, free and clear of all debris on a daily basis and be responsible for any damage to the road. This is where Mr. Bishop's suggestion of some sort of collateral, some sort of security, if that's appropriate, that should be addressed as one of the conditions. The conditional use permit is limited to the 4-acre site that is permitted under the MDEQ Notice of Exempt Mining Operation permit itself. So that has to be delineated and staked and made clear. And we also require some sort of protection of the entrance, the exit and entrance to the public road with appropriate material that is designed to alleviate some of the tracking of the soil material onto the public road. So typically that is 610. You're familiar with that. We typically require the operator to install enough 610 from the actual surface of Stoll on this occasion with the appropriate stump ridge with the appropriate flares to allow for the turning of the actual dump trucks, and we require that material go into the site far enough so that there's an adequate opportunity for any built-up soil material to get knocked off of the wheels before they get to stump ridge. So we would require that. We mentioned the special flood hazard, and that doesn't apply here, so I won't belabor the point on that. If there are other conditions that should be considered, this is the appropriate time for the board in its deliberation. If it intends to move forward in granting the application, this would be the appropriate point at which to introduce the conditions that would be attendant to that permit.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I just want Mr. Bilbro to be able to work with our county road manager on the route.
Let's revisit the route. I feel like that there's some obstacle that we haven't brought up in that Mount Ham. And there's people here that would be really upset if we went that way. I mean, so let's let the professionals, if it's approved on what the board desires, with our engineer and Mike and Bill Bros, see about that Mount Ham being honest.
My suggestion would be, as a way of establishing on the record that we would require an appropriate haul route, we just simply need to say that in addition to the other conditions. And so how I would message that, Mr. Gaines, if this is suitable, I would say that an appropriate haul route to be determined by the road manager in conjunction with any other professionals that the county employs, and that the operator of the pit must abide by the haul route at all times. That would be a condition.
Okay.
This time it would be appropriate, with those conditions, at this time it would be appropriate for the board to take action on the request.
I make a motion to approve.
Second. Jay made a motion to approve. Scott seconded that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any
I
opposed?
have not voted. I'm torn. I'm conflicted. I live in the community. I am a resident. My daughter, my grandchild are residents. My wife too. And, yeah.
I'm sure she's glad you remember.
I also farm about 250 acres. And us farmers don't want people telling us what we can do. Us residents don't want things that will possibly devalue their home for a while. However, those same homes had dirt brought to them to have their home. I'm very conflicted. I prayed about it for a couple of weeks. The board has voted for. I'm gonna abstain, because if I say yes, have it, then it's like, I mean, I'm almost related to some of the people that said yes. And it would be like if Mr. Bilbro's wife was on the board, it wouldn't be lawful for her to vote. However, on the other side of that, I live there. I'm a resident, just like these people. Go to church with some of them. Peds to school. So if I'm on that side and I vote no, then I'm in the same position. I am abstaining to vote on this matter.
Mr. Gaines, the record will reflect that the vote is 4 and 1 abstention. in favor of providing the permit with the conditions as discussed and established. That'll be what the minutes reflect. That matter is closed. Anybody that was here on that matter is free to leave, and we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. Okay, gentlemen,
Move it on. Yeah.
okay. Item E, gentlemen, is the 19 for me 661 nuisance property condemnation review at 123 Lakeside Street. This is a District 3 property. Mr. Measles, that public hearing is open. I will ask anyone who is here to speak on behalf of 19 for me 661 to be prepared to come forward to address the board. Brian will demonstrate with the photos.
Okay, and also Brett Ishii, our fire coordinator, he's been on site, so he can explain what you're seeing on the monitor. Brett.
Yeah, come on up. This was declared something in 21, or how long ago? I mean,
So, this particular house was, I think, probably 2-3 years ago. The actual residents of the house at the time contacted us and wanted to burn the house down. They were gonna get with, I think it's 3 parties, it's a brother and 2 sisters. I think they were gonna get with all the parties together and get us a letter so we could burn it down, and just, dispose of all the mess. Fast forward 2 or 3 years, he got brought back up, and I think somebody has basically bought the property for the taxes, if I'm understanding that correctly. We were approached about letting water and electricity into it. Myself and the building department went out there. It's full of rot. The electrical is in very, very bad shape. The septic is actually running out into the lake. It's a lot going on in this house.
do we have the person that purchased it, the taxes?
Is there anyone here on behalf of 19 for me 661? Did we get a green card on them?
Yes.
Yep, so it's been signed for. So what, part of our process, gentlemen, whenever we're considering one for a condemnation under state law, not under your ordinances, under state law, although we're considering both the state law potential here for condemnation, but also the nuisance consideration as well. Both of those are in play here. We sent out a notification by way of certified mail. The notification was received on behalf of the owner of this property. So they have been provided due process. So we're prepared. Again, is there anyone here to speak on this matter as an owner of the property? Okay. So there's no one here to speak in opposition, gentlemen. So at this time, we will close that hearing, and it's appropriate for you to take action. I think you've heard from Mr. Ishii that we've got substantial life safety issues here, and it has become a public nuisance. And so it's appropriate for this board to take action. I recommend that the action be taken under state law in accordance with your authority under Mississippi law to declare this to be uninhabitable and unfit for human habitation, and that it needs to be remediated. That situation needs to be remediated.
All right, if they don't remediate it, will we have to bring it before us as a nuisance? Or?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
So-
It's before us under state law.
All right, that'd be my motion, condemn the property under state law.
The first step, gentlemen, is that it is rendered inaccessible. So we would need county forces to make this property inaccessible to anyone. And you can do that in a number of ways. We can barricade the entry to it with pile dirt up in the right of way, we can.
Well, somebody owns the property.
That's right, so we can but at this point, you have just declared it to be unfit for human habitation.
The house.
We don't want people going in there, it's not even safe for anybody to go in. So we need to block off access and make it clear and apparent to the community, this is not to be accessed. We can do that with police tape.
Okay.
We can do that with signage. We can do that with regular and routine law enforcement activity, surveillance of that area as they are in the area, making sure that nobody's on that site until Mr. Ishii has an opportunity then to address how are we going to get it on the ground and get it gone.
To me, the fire department was the best move, is have it removed.
That may take some time.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, Brad, we just don't want it to be accessed.
My motion is condemn it, and by state law.
Second.
Brad made a motion, Steve seconded the motion. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item F, gentlemen, is a similar situation as the Peggy Brown nuisance property and condemnation review under state law. This is at 2454 Star Road in District 1. We'll open that public hearing. I'll ask Ms. Brown or anyone on behalf of Ms. Brown to be prepared to step forward to address the board. Brian's going to demonstrate with the photos.
Brett.
Okay, this house, it actually came in, the house was actually on fire when we got there. The fireman went through the front door, it came in.
Why did you put it out?
That's kind of our job. So, went through the front door, suppose there was somebody inside the house, as they went through the front door and was checking, the floor collapsed. 3 or 4 firemen fell through the floor. After we got the fire out and started looking at some more looking at through the house, we noticed that all the floors in the house were rotten. There was actually, in one of the pictures, there's actually a recliner sitting through the floor of the house that is sitting on dirt. So the whole recliner is through. After talking with the occupants that lived there, he stated to us, yes, it's been in disarray. Termites have gotten into the floor joists, into the structures, and for some time that he admitted that, I mean, it needs to have some work done to it. Fast forward, went back out with the building department as we were walking around looking in it. There's multiple areas of the floor where it is rotten and fallen through. After some more investigation, this is actually a duplex house. There never was a permit pulled for the other occupancy. The only thing that's between these two apartments, duplexes, whatever, however you want to label it, is a firewall that does not go all the way up through the roof. This is one, I mean, everything's under one solid structure, or roof structure.
Is this the same house we had a couple years ago, where there was a lady?
Same again, there's raw sewage running out on the ground. We did find that.
Somebody was living there?
There was 2
Yeah,
different.
actually, I'll speak to that, let him go ahead and finish.
Okay. So like I said,
Electricity too.
I mean, it's in the pictures.
Has the meter been pulled?
Yeah, this is
Brett.
pictures after the fire.
Right.
This is
Brett,
not
is
literally
electricity
related, this
to
is after the fire.
Was it?
Yes, there was electricity to this house.
Is it currently electricity to the house?
No.
Okay.
We had them pull the meter the day that we were there. And I mean, I told them that I was not gonna sign back off on this till, I mean, there's more wrong than there is right.
Yeah, all right.
All right, we got something I want to say.
All right. Is Ms. Brown present?
No, I'm her son.
Okay. If you'll step forward, please, and address the board, please give your name and address.
Okay, there's two properties involved, 2454, my name's Cliff Brown.
Okay.
Cliff Brown. There's two properties, 2454A, 2454B. Two mailboxes, two plumbing systems, two electrical systems, two complete separate houses. There is a firewall between the two apartments. Okay, he says it didn't go all the way up. After the fire, and this is on B side. Yeah, it was a bad shape. It was in bad shape on the B side. There's no pictures of the A side. I see it all.
Do you live there?
I live on A side.
Okay.
Not,
Did you bring some pictures of your side?
No, I didn't. This is all B. Everybody's B. I don't see any pictures of A. There was no damage whatsoever from the fire, not even the smell of smoke, because it didn't spread to the other side. Oh, stop. That's just the back. That's the back of the house. The back porch. That is coming down anyway. We don't live there. That's not part of the house. That's just an old garage my grandfather built.
When was the addition built on to this?
1930 something. It was originally built. Oh yeah, we're back up.
It was a store.
Yeah. See that was that's on the A side.
And the A side?
Yeah.
That's the A side?
Yeah.
The A side was a store.
Yeah, that's livable. It's got some places where floor's a little spongy. No places where the floor is collapsed, none at all.
So where do the people go that's on the B side? They move in with you?
No. They can get the whole property, A and B. I'm living on the floor in my store down at the gate. He's living with his mother.
Well, so nobody's living there?
Nobody's living there.
No electricity right now.
No, they turned off the electricity the same day that the fire started.
There's 1 meter for both sides?
No,
There's
two
2 meters.
complete separate houses, two addresses, two mailboxes. It's two complete separate units.
What are y'all, I mean, what's your plans? I mean, you
Well,
wanna tear it down or fire department burn it down?
No, we're just gonna tear down the B side. But A side, just leave it.
You're not gonna be able to do that. You're gonna have to, everything's gonna have to be brought up to code.
Well, my grandfather built that in the 40s.
Well, I understand that.
It's by code according to him.
Well,
No, according to the codes that when that structure was built, it is by code.
Well, I know, but I mean.
He had an
termites,
outhouse. It's been updated, actually.
The
How much of-
termites,
Yeah, how much of it has been damaged, Brett?
Just the B side.
On just the B side.
I mean, is it 50%, is it more than 50%?
It's gonna be, yeah, it's gonna be more than 50, so.
If
I mean,
it's more than
Southern Building Code said, anytime that you update a structure more than 50%, it has to be brought up to current codes.
Yeah.
So because the other side is obviously bigger than this side, it's well over the 50%. So, I mean, if any work has to be done, it has to be brought up to current codes.
Brett, so let me ask you, what you're saying is 100% of the structure, 50% divided by 75% firewall, which
Yes.
I'm uncomfortable with. But if he removes, you live in A or you live in B?
Well, I don't live anywhere now. I'm homeless.
Yes.
I've been rendered homeless because of a
Okay.
bureaucratic.
So opposite whatever unit he lived in, you're gonna remove the other
We're gonna
burner
move the B
unit.
side, yeah.
That's 50% of the structure is gonna have to come up to today's code. Is that
The whole
correct?
thing.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Whole thing has gotta come up to
The side that he
2018
lives
building
on
code.
is a quarter of the other side.
No, it's not. It's more than half. It's,
well, we can debate it whatever on the size of.
Do you plan on, and would you like to have some time, 30 days, 45 days to clean it up?
well, it's gonna take a lot longer than that.
Well, to get something in there and get it on the ground and clean it up, it shouldn't.
Well, yeah, because I mean, I've got a full-time job too. I mean, we can't.
But what I'm getting at, it looks like the whole, it all needs to be torn down and started back. I mean, from the pictures that I'm looking at right here.
Well, that's.
I mean, the sink is sagging in the middle.
Go ahead and catch it.
Yeah, go ahead and catch it.
Yeah, you got it, okay.
Well, when it's burned, the A side.
That was a real estate agent, by the way. He wants to buy that.
So you'd like to sell it?
Whatever.
And I
Condemn.
Did y'all have homeowners insurance on?
No, that was not insured.
No
No
insurance.
insurance. The house had had termite problems a
Yeah,
long
it
time
did.
ago, and the floor had been ripped up before. And, that was one of the things I was wanting to do is when it warmed up this summer, we
Well-
can start working on it, but,
Yeah, all I'm asking is, do y'all want 30, 45 days to get it tore down on the ground? I'm willing to give y'all, 30, 45 days to get it torn on the ground, or either we're gonna go ahead and condemn it, today. I'm willing to work with y'all.
Well,
to-
no, actually, it's gonna take a little more than 45 days. But we still have our stuff in there. I mean, it's, all these kitchen appliances, they're all
Well,
still there.
right.
It's gonna take more than 30 days. But,
I don't understand.
It'll take much more than 30 days for it to take its course through justice if we declare it
just let us,
a nuisance, and
when-
then he can talk to the judge.
we're not gonna live there. I mean, I don't wanna live there, actually. I'm looking for another place to live already.
Right.
I'm looking for a place to live.
what if it's just used for storage?
And we just use it just store our stuff for a while until maybe a year from now, tear it down. Or sell it as is to somebody that's willing to tear it down.
I'm not comfortable with that.
No, cause the realtor's gonna market it as a dwelling on a piece of property.
No, actually, one of the realtors, I talked to
The
several
realtor's gonna
realtors.
wanna make what,
And he said they can sell it as is to somebody who's willing to tear it down.
Yeah.
They're salvage property, realtors. They want to buy the.
Vote and let the courts
So why don't we
handle
do
it.
this, man? Why don't you just give them 2 months to resolve the situation, and if at the end of that time it hasn't been resolved, then we'll move forward.
Well, we can go ahead because and do the nuisance and give them 2 months.
Okay.
And at that time, if they haven't,
Yes.
then we can pull the trigger. Don't you think that would, so we don't have to go back through?
Let me see if I can kind of set us where we are. We're actually entertaining 2 different options that the board has. The option that we are considering is the state law condemnation option. Because this is not suitable for human habitation.
Okay.
That's why it's unoccupied. That's why these gentlemen have been told, don't come back in there. It's why the power was removed. And so we're way down the road of a condemnation.
Give them opportunity to get in and get their stuff out.
that's right.
Correct. And so, so right now, we need to modify slightly kind of where we are and make sure that the board threads the needle. We're saying that it's not safe for anybody to be inside there. Okay? So going in there to remove stuff is an unsafe activity. Your fire coordinator has said, we don't need anybody in there. Okay, so we need to develop a way as safe as possible to allow for the removal of anything that's salvageable. And then after that has happened and a period of time has been authorized to allow for that to happen, then whatever's left needs to be dealt with by the local fire department. So I would suggest let's ask the fire coordinator to oversee a limited period of time for these gentlemen to be able to go and get their stuff. And then after that period of time, regardless of what's left, we're gonna deal with that under state law. And I would need a motion to that effect. I'm assuming that we're okay with a 60-day process.
The barn that's on site, on the same property, is that barn structure, can they store stuff in it, or is it?
No, that's the worst case. That's just an old
Oh,
tractor.
no, I see it now, okay.
No, that's not the same.
That ain't the
That's
same
not the
building,
same
same
thing.
building I've seen was white.
There was one that he was in the process of tearing down anyway.
Oh, yeah, there's several.
There's another
in the
shed that
process
was
of tearing down. We
So, the
The other
previous,
shed was a garage.
the previous slides, that's for the other condemned property.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, there it is.
That's the one.
That's an old garage. It's,
But you could store stuff under there and get the other building
Or is it
down.
in bad shape?
It's better than the burnt side of B.
So you could put your stuff in there.
Unburned hay.
Alright.
So my suggestion for a motion would be to declare it condemned under state law give a period of 60 days for the removal of anything salvageable, if that can be done safely with Mr. Ishii's oversight. And then at the end of 60 days, the house, the whole structure needs to come down.
That's my motion.
Second.
Okay, go ahead. I want to comment.
Okay, any further discussion?
Yeah.
Okay.
If he has a buyer during this time, he's okay to make a transaction?
As long as it's clearly explained to whoever's helping to market the property that the property's been condemned and that it will have to be removed from the realty.
Yeah.
It's gotta come down.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to buy it, knowing that they have inherited a responsibility to remove all of the structure, then fine. But there's not gonna be a structure there after 60 days. Or a period of time after a termination of 60 days.
I mean, this may be his only out, because he probably doesn't have the time or the resources to tear it down. But he may have somebody interested that wants to buy the property without the building, get the buildings off. And they would have the resources.
There's no reason why that can't happen, as long as, again, as long as it's clear to any buyer. I would caution these gentlemen not to sell this property to somebody that believes that all they gotta do is march down here and get a permit, and then they'll have electricity, and they can just go to whatever. That is not going to happen.
We need to make sure all the utilities are disconnected.
Yeah.
They
Water.
have been disconnected. Yeah, on both houses.
A and B, correct?
A and B.
So we need to vote?
Aye.
All right.
Actually, one more question though.
No.
60 days is not enough.
We're done.
Okay, gentlemen, you've got a standing motion with a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, that matter is ended. That's the end of me. We do have additional business to be discussed. I think we're gonna discuss it in executive session. Gentlemen, we've got a litigation matter.
Mr. Hicks?
All right. Good morning still.
Yeah.
Item A is acknowledgement of receipt of excess fee income totaling $88,810 from our circuit clerk's office.
Motion approved.
Second.
Brad made a motion, Steve seconded the motion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item B is acknowledgement of receipt of 708 homestead applications submitted by the tax assessor's office to the chancery clerk's office for the month of February of '25.
Motion approved.
Second.
Jay made a motion, Scott seconded the motion. Any further discussion?
Is that about average, or is that what we normally get a year, or?
Jessica? It's about average.
Well, y'all just made that up.
Tim, what was
I
your
think
answer on
January-
that?
January was pretty hefty.
Yeah. Don't believe anybody was paying attention. Thank y'all for paying attention.
Yes, this year it has been an average. The January started out actually significantly higher than we did last January. Anyway, but we ended up about the same.
All
A
right.
little more, but about the same.
All in favor?
Well, y'all, anybody need to discuss anything else? That's what we was on. It looked like we had a lot of discussion. Okay.
Yes, that's a
Everybody
question.
good? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item C is approval of payout number 7 to Thornton Construction. This is on our ARPA project for Reservoir East in the amount of $414,636.10, and authority to issue that check.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Steve?
Hey, Tim, it's been about a month since I've physically been over there. How much longer
This
are
is
they?
a benchmark project.
Do what?
Benchmark project.
Oh,
Greg's here.
It so
Great.
happens he's here. Look at there.
What percent of time, no, just quickly, how far are we in this project?
It's over.
I would say 75%.
So we'll be finished in the middle of the summer or something like that?
Hopefully with good weather.
Yeah.
A rain
But
really is a hurt on it.
for sure before school starts in August.
Hopefully, yes.
Okay, good, thank you.
Alright,
How to make a motion?
hold on, we hadn't,
Motion by me, second by Jay, and, we were
Steve,
waiting.
Steve made a motion, Jay seconded the motion, we was under discussion, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item D is approval of payout number 9 for Southeastern Pipeline and Environmental Services. This is on our Oak Grove ditch project.
Motion approved.
Second.
Jay made a motion, Scott seconded the motion, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, item E is our final payout on Amanda Drive. It's also an ARPA project, and authority to issue the check, the final check in the amount of $30,625.57, and acknowledge the warranty period starts and it goes through April 8th of '26.
Motion approved.
Second.
Jay made a motion, Steve seconded the motion, any further discussion?
I do, actually, man, I got a phone call last night asking me when we gonna come cut the grass.
On what?
On the ditch?
On the ditch.
You're kidding.
No.
Tell 'em.
Actually, I got a call from one of the aldermen asking me, since this is just a county easement, y'all gonna come maintain it? I was like, it's not a county easement, it's an easement, you know? But,
Temporary.
I don't know, what are our plans on all these that we're,
I don't know that there are any plans. You do not have a responsibility. You've undertaken no responsibility to continually maintain any of these areas that are subject to ARPA projects.
When
We
we
made
leave,
that very
that
clear.
responsibility goes back to whoever had responsibility
Typically, it
before.
would fall back under the responsibility of the
HOA.
existing HOA if there
If
is one.
there is.
And if there is not an existing HOA, then it's ultimately gonna end up being the private property owners whose properties abut this. Or the developer, if there was never a handoff of the common areas, if it's actually formally delineated as a common area on the plat. We've said all along, I'm gonna quickly get back on this soapbox. We've said all along that we don't have an adequate way to address stormwater management in unincorporated Rankin County. State law doesn't provide it. This board does not have independent authority to provide it. We have worked feverishly to try to figure out how to get that authority.
yeah, well, that got shot down
Well,
last meeting.
It's just been
Let-
difficult.
Let me say this. I do not feel like that conversation is over. The only thing is over is that we would run a ad campaign and have an election, and that is what we voted on. I would like for us to fine tune what we had. We know we gotta expand it because it's gotta have more money. And we can get to the point that we need to get to fund it. It's gonna, everybody's gonna get a pinch, at least a pinch. But I want the summer, from now through the summer, to put together something that we can approve and do that by the fall. And what we were gonna have was only something like a recommendation.
Yes, non-binding.
Right, so we still need to entertain this stormwater.
Yeah, so to foster additional conversation, we have an existing federally authorized drainage district
Yes.
under both state and federal law
Yep.
that is recognized in Washington DC and recognized by state law. It's called the Richland Creek Drainage District. It has a footprint, an actual district boundary. There's an argument in place now about exactly what does that district boundary look like, because it's morphed over many decades, and it's powerfully difficult to figure out what is the actual footprint of this thing. And so we're working now to try to come up with a way to address what is Richland Creek Drainage District located in a portion of Rankin County. What is its actual footprint and what is its responsibility? And how do we
get funding to it that will allow it to take care of its
I didn't
responsibilities.
intend to open that can of worms,
No, I
but,
understand.
all right, so.
But a similar structure could be considered for unincorporated Rankin County.
Grass cutting.
That applies to specific
Grass cutting.
areas like Richland Creek does.
Okay, all right, so.
We hadn't voted on E.
NRCS projects we've done, we're required to maintain those.
That is correct.
So what's the difference in that and this?
We said on the front end for ARPA projects, these will be not handled under normal procedures because none of those funds went through a federal agency. All of those funds came directly to Rankin County. And we made it very clear, we are not inheriting future responsibility for the areas that we use these special dollars one time to address needs.
Okay.
You made that clear in your findings. That's how that money was dispersed and distributed. And so you have no legal responsibility for any of those areas that are ARPA projects.
All right.
Jay, your point, Mill Creek,
Yeah.
where we've got probably a half a dozen specific appropriations over the years from 1995 forward. We probably got 6 or 7 specific appropriations. All of those funds went through NRCS and were managed by NRCS, and the county got reimbursed for the work that was done there. And a condition of getting reimbursed was to inherit ongoing perpetual maintenance.
All right, thank you.
All right, we need to vote on E.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. All right, do we have any additional business to discuss?
So, I make a motion that's needed for an executive session.
Second. Jay made the motion to go in executive session. Steve seconded that motion. Any further discussion?
It's the need, but yeah.
The need.
Litigation, is potential acquisition of county property. There, I don't know if there's personnel.
Personnel.
It probably usually is.
I make a motion to go to executive session for those reasons.
Second.
Jay made the motions. Steve seconded the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.